Okay, we're live. Hi, everybody. We had a full chat actually because everybody's been chatting before, waiting. Hey, everybody, can you guys see chat? Or no? I'm just curious
If
if
you
you're
look
going
at
to be
comments, we can.
okay. So
On
you
the
could
top. Yeah,
okay.
right.
Yeah.
All right. Hi, everybody. We got Dr. Salerno here and her daughter Francesca. How's everybody doing? Locked. Okay, everything sounds good. So, hold on. Somebody said locked. What does that mean, locked? Good evening, everyone. Are you guys? Can you guys could hear us, right? Oh, werewolves are lock your doors. Wait, what are you guys are talking about? Silly stuff. Okay, never mind. So we kind of touched base on this subject a little bit last night about the Warped Tour but it's more than the Warped Tour, right? It's like a bunch of these because there's like bands on. It's why you know what? Actually, Katy Perry was at the Warped Tour.
Yes, that's how she started her career.
I know because I started looking. We started looking. Yeah. Like, okay, well, she was at the Warped Tour. So, is that on that list? Is all the bands been on the Warped Tour that list that you gave me?
I believe I'm pretty sure most of them have been. From what I think some of them I don't even know, but I think for the majority of them they have at least been once.
Okay. What about Marilyn Manson was on there? Was he at the
Sorry, that's the dog. I don't think he's ever been on Warped Tour. He could have been like in like the 90s maybe, but I was not there for that.
Maybe I haven't heard of like most of these bands, which is crazy. I feel old. I'm like, who are these bands? Like Marilyn Manson, of course, I've heard of, but like, and like Katy Perry. I think there was the only.
I don't think. I'm wondering if we're on because people are saying, "Oh."
That's what I was asking. Did they say?
Now they're saying hello, but before they were like saying, "Let's watch a commercial while we watch nothing."
Oh, really?
Oh no, okay. So I see the live because I pulled it up because I wanted to see the chat, so I have it on two screens.
Okay,
but it looks like we're just lagging. We're like a little bit behind what's actually going on the screen.
Okay,
so we're like not quite in sync, I think. Which is
yeah. Usually YouTube is about like 15 seconds behind, but maybe more. But maybe they had a commercial or something. I don't know. So we're going to talk about, so Francesca's been to 3 Warped Tours, now talking to her, right? So you said though, you went when you were really young, right?
So my first Warped Tour, I believe was 2013, maybe. I believe actually, I think it was 2000.
Okay.
So I was 14 at the time.
Whoa, that is.
So I went with my friend and her mom. And we went and we had like a great time. I mean, we loved it. And I mean, I'll say like I only had good experiences at Warped Tour, which it seems like that obviously wasn't the case for everyone. But I had a great time at 14 and thought I was so cool. So cool.
But you said the meet and greet you were saying earlier, I meant to ask. So you got to meet like the band members through that?
Yeah, so Warped Tour was really cool, I think, and unique. And I think part of the reason it was so popular, other than the music was popular, I think because one, you got to see all if you got to see all your favorite bands, let's say if you were into that kind of music in one go, like you could see them the whole day. But also the fact that Warped Tour kind of made that, I feel like broke down that impersonal barrier between the fan and the artist and everything. And so pretty much every band had a meet and greet at least once, sometimes many times. They all had their own little booth set up, the whole shebang. And I met a couple. I've met so many of the bands that I liked. Like I've got to meet a good amount of them. And I think even in this room, which is our storage room and / office, I think there are posters that I still have and stuff that were signed from Warped Tour from these bands. Like I have tickets and everything. So.
See, I could see how that could turn into something where they meet the girls through that. The girls get to meet these guys, and then
there was definitely, and I remember back on like the Tumblr era. Now, granted, I wasn't into Tumblr during its like peak era because I was too young and I just didn't really know what was cool, or I don't know. But I think as an adult now, I'm very glad that I wasn't into Tumblr when it was popular. I think it was there was maybe some good stuff, but mostly what I hear now is it was maybe not so great. But
in what way?
It just I think there was a lot of just questionable like just things and fan groups, and Good Charlotte is good. Like Good Charlotte.
I actually have heard a Good Charlotte.
Yeah. But I think I remember. I think I found it years later after Warped Tour kind of thing. Is that there was, I think it was Tumblr at least. There was something. It was like, oh, what girls can do to get noticed at like these shows, right? And I guess obviously all of it was directed toward assuming you are of legal age, you are an adult, you are, it's an adult and adult interactions, right? But obviously when someone's 16 and they're in love with, the lead singer of God knows what, that can be, so it was like, what to wear, what kind of makeup you should do, like, how you should present, never tell it you're a fan kind of thing. It was, I mean, in hindsight, it's really stupid. But like,
was this, I'm sorry to interrupt, sorry, but was this generated by the fans, the girls?
No, it wasn't by the, because obviously that would be really bad. But I think it was more just, I don't know. I think,
how do these girls know what to like? Just from experience, I guess.
Exactly, experience. I think of my sister. Like, she was obsessed with Justin Bieber. Like, she knew everything about this man, right? So wouldn't it be so cool if you're like 13 and your dream is to have, so there's that. But again, that's where that uneven power dynamic comes in that you have to be aware of. Because, obviously, like, I even think of myself. Like, I remember I had a lot of photos from Warped Tour, but there's one specific one of with this singer from one of the bands I liked, and it was a great conversation. Like, of course, I thought nothing of it other than, wow, I am talking to like, one is who I know all the lyrics to, I know the songs, so like, this is crazy. But so I don't know. I think.
Do you think if he would have invited you, honestly, if he would have invited you like to like an after party,
I probably would have been like, first of all, my mom is one of those people that would have been like, I'm picking you up at 6 p.m. be out front, like, if and if you're not there, I'm getting it. So like, it wouldn't have even happened. I think my mom was very good about not putting us in, or not making sure that we weren't in a position in general. I don't think she was necessarily thinking that either, maybe, but I think, so I think luckily for my mother, obviously that also never happened. No one ever asked me to go anywhere with them, but I think if I like at 15, 16 been told by one of my favorite members, hey, like, would you want to come to a party afterwards? I would be like, of course, yeah, I would love to come to a party. But like, but when you're 16, you're not really thinking 3-4 steps ahead of that. As an adult, what does that really mean? Or what, and it's kind of sad that, like, I think as especially as women, we have to kind of worry about, like, it kind of befalls on us to kind of have to think about all those things. And be, I guess, aware of that. But it kind of does fall on us to, unfortunately, have to be, even at like 16, 14, think, okay, what, is it, me saying, being there, is that going to be a problem? Yeah.
And there's a lot of girls that wouldn't have a mom like yours, and they probably would have went, and they don't have probably as good of a head on their shoulders as you, and they wouldn't have been thinking that way. Yeah, and it probably still happens so much with other bands and other, but this just seems like there were so many of these bands that were taking advantage of that, and it was like a lot of the underage. It was a lot of people like. There was that one band that was like making a bet who could date the youngest, youngest.
Yeah, some of these are supposedly, some of them are, they have more evidence. Some of them, some of the. Again, I will say, as a whole, Warped Tour, I think it was a lot more positive. There was a lot more good than bad, but there, again, with everything, there is kind of an underbelly to it, and unfortunately, this was the underbelly. So, and again, some of them, again, I don't know that from that list, which was not compiled by me, was some other girl on Twitter who, after allegations of another band member, was like, I'm adding it to the list, and then shared it with everyone on Twitter, what she did. But yeah, there definitely was a lot of probably weird stuff going on that.
Yeah, there probably was a lot more than you even
that
realized.
I did not know at the time.
But you don't have any friends that have told you like any stories?
No, I didn't have too many friends who were into the same music I was at the time. Still, kind of still am. So I, really, none of us probably would have, none of my friends went to Warped Tour with me. Well, one, but
So I was reading that they said they made sure that it ended by like 9 o'clock, right? So it is a younger crowd because of the young, like.
Yes. So from what I understand, because we never got to stay till the end either, because my mom was
Okay.
like, "Let's go beat the traffic."
That's true.
Is that like the last set starts at 9, but it doesn't actually end at 9. It ends at like a 45-minute set, 40-minute set, let's say. And then obviously the band goes off, and like, you know, I think they stopped letting people in after a while. But sorry,
So that's not really that early. That's like a regular concert then.
Yeah.
They made it okay. So because usually they don't go that late with concerts because of like
kids
curfews and stuff, and like.
I guess it depends, but they always always was the thing.
Would you have let her go if you knew this now, Amy?
Oh, I knew it. Oh, about the essay.
About like all of this stuff going on. Would you still let her go?
I was always very nervous, right, Francesca?
Yeah.
Very skittish about stranger danger and all of that. I probably wouldn't, because Francesca got into emo music and emo.
It's not emo. I hate when people call it emo. Okay, not even. I don't know what it is, but it's definitely not neither of those two. Sorry, that's just my personal pet peeve, because everyone's always like, it's so emo. I'm like, first of all, I don't even really know what emo is, but that was like a little bit before my time. I think I was a little too old, in the trends was a little too old for that, or I guess young for that. But anyway, that's not here.
I don't even know what emo is. I've heard that term, but I have no
idea. Somebody here is saying Nemo?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. Well, emo was kind of like a subculture. It was also on Tumblr. Tumblr was not a great place.
I saw it in one of the articles about this. They were talking about the Tumblr. So, I actually saved a couple articles. Maybe so emo, but does it stand for something like EMO? Does it stand for something specific? Or
I think
it's like emotional.
Back in the day, it was like emotional, yeah. But like that's
oh, really?
Yeah, I think that's where it came from. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm pretty sure that's where like emotional music. But I'm not really sure what that means, because all music is emotional, isn't it? Technically.
Yeah, and I was picturing
really
something like so totally different. But I think you're right. People are saying, emo is emotional, dramatic, emotional. Okay, wow.
Sorry, someone on the chat said, "LOL, OMG, I'm old. I was an adult when emo became a thing." Sorry,
I think I was too. I feel like. Oh my gosh.
So there were a couple things I wanted to say, if I can just
go
say a couple things. I think first of all, when Francesca first wanted to go to these concerts, the first one, didn't you go with the friend from school's mom?
Yeah, I went with Angelica.
Oh, Angelica, that's right. And her mom. And
her mom.
What? I'm sorry?
Yes, Angelica and her mom.
And her mother.
Yes, her mom was there.
And then I thought personally, because let me tell you a funny story. I remember when Francesca had those flip phones, right? She got a flip phone. I think it was in 5th grade. And I saw, she must have been playing a song by Paramore. And do you remember Paramore?
Yeah, I think, of course I know Paramore, but I don't know if anyway, continue. I'll let you go.
Right. It was anyway, it was, to me, it seemed young. And I remember seeing the word Paramore, which.
Oh, yeah. You thought it was so inappropriate. You gave me a whole.
Because Paramore means a lover, right? In English, and especially in medicine, we'll say the patient's paramour. It means not the, let's say the husband or the wife, but their lover. So I opened up the phone. I was like, Paramore? What is this?
It was
back. How did you know this word? She's like, what word? So I was very kind of nervous in that way, partly because of all the patients and the stuff that I've seen through my practice. Oh, emo equals My Chemical Romance.
We love My Chemical Romance.
Yeah. But then I kind of got into some of the music myself, actually.
Really?
And I think I do remember when
some of it. Some is a very limited amount.
Yeah, very limited. But I think when you were like 2, I think it was, Francesca, but I don't know, that I told Francesca like never to get into an unmarked car at like age 2.
Yeah.
Like
Wait, what do you mean an unmarked car though?
So this is, I guess this is just to speak on to how kind of like maybe a little paranoid, maybe just I think just I think again it was obviously because of your work. I think as you see a lot of the very bad stuff that can happen, doesn't mean it will, but can happen. So I think you were always like, so I used to take a bus to preschool, but so my mom was like, never get in an unmarked car. And I think what she meant by that was just like, don't get into strangers' cars. Like if you don't know them, you're not allowed to get into them.
And I think I was saying like police. Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's also like a police car where it says like police or, you know, the firefighters or whatever.
Or the bus.
Or
school
the
bus.
school bus.
Oh, okay.
And she was always like, you're never allowed an unmarked car. And so I just was kind of drilled in. And I guess one day for the busing service, they did have little cars they would also take.
It was in preschool.
Yeah, but it was because it was a small little bus company. And I guess the bus like got stuck or couldn't come or something along those lines. And they sent a car. And I told the school, because the school was like, okay, you can leave now because they were late. And I told the school, apparently, no, I'm not allowed to. My mom said I can't get into unmarked. So I just like refused to go. And they had to call someone else. Then the bus had to come back. And
they had to ultimately called me at work. The guy was very frustrated. Yeah. They were like, your 3-year-old child will not get into the car. I'm like, what car? Isn't it supposed to have a hen on it or something? It was called the mother hen. She said, well, the mother hen broke down, so we sent it a car. I'm like, does the car have a hen on it? He said, no.
It looked like a regular car. And I was like, I'm not doing that.
I said, well, then she shouldn't get into an unmarked car. He's like, oh, my God. He's like, that's what she keeps saying. Your daughter is 3 years old, and she keeps saying, I'm not allowed to get in an unmarked car. But, and some of these people may be freaking out, like in your chat saying, well, what the heck does this Warped Tour conversation about?
And we're talking about the mother hen.
Yeah, we're talking about the mother hen bus and don't get into it.
But all relate to, I feel like.
I believe that they all really do relate. And I know that it was very hard, even in the early 2000s when my daughter, or middle 2000s, say, when my daughters first had their phone and they were texting and they were on the internet. Even if I put governors, what I call governors or parental controls on their phone, they knew how to get around it. And I was always very concerned about predators. I mean, this is a real thing, right?
I mean, again, because I think you've probably seen the effects of what happens with that and seen the real victims behind that. So and again, if you asked me when I was 13, I would have told you that she's annoying and that she was, being crazy. And she didn't let me do anything. But as an adult, having experienced more of the world, seeing what's, really going on out there and how there's a lot of bad, I think, and then especially knowing a lot of people who have had their share of unfortunate, circumstances or have been, victims in some way, shape or form, it kind of does remind me that I'm actually, as much as I wasn't happy about all of it at the time, I was really glad that my mom was a little overprotective because luckily, that's something my sister and I never had to, at least as children, especially, never had to go through or experience because, she was very careful.
My mom was really strict too. And I was like, when you're in that moment, you're like, my mom's too strict. But then after, like as an adult, you're like, oh, I'm glad she was like that. Yeah.
Definitely.
And Patty just said, yes, important. Discussing this stuff starts as soon as they can walk. And it does. But I felt like even at age, whatever age you were when you got a texter and all that stuff came to be, I am going to answer that question about the art in a minute. Cement shoes. I felt out of control. Like I felt because of this technological age that we entered suddenly. I mean, there was a flip from books to audiobooks and all those kind of things. I did feel that I was losing control over my children at a much younger age than I would have liked to have lost control. Not that they were just, free range children or anything like that.
Not.
No, not at all. No. Catholic school, the uniform, 9 years. But I did feel like, when you introduce technology and you introduce the world that is sort of virtual, as people and as parents, we do, and grandparents, I suppose, if you're a grandparent, do lose control. Yes, Francesca is my daughter. I think people
And
that
I'm 22, in case anyone's almost
Oh,
23.
I was just going to type that. Okay. I'm almost 23. Wow.
Yes.
When's your
and like almost
birthday?
a month, the 20th of January. So almost.
Okay. Nice. Aw.
Yeah. Ugh. But
oh, how old is your daughter? Yes, she's of age.
yes,
She may
I'm
not look
very
it.
much an adult now. But
Well, it's kind of. I'm sorry to take
Yes.
over. I don't want to hijack, but I just thought about it because you are on the short side, people, and you have a young, sweet kind of itness. Not yet, but okay. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, we're not arguing.
No, we're not going to argue. But I remember, a year, no, maybe 2 years ago before the pandemic. So you were like 21, let's say, or 20, going into Applebee's and saying, they would say, give me a menu. And they'd say to Francesca, do you want the children's menu and the crayons to color?
Yeah, I think it hasn't happened recently.
No, that hasn't happened too much recently. But,
I was like, I
like,
am literally old enough to drink here. Like, I don't know why you're giving me crayons.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's, what do you say when they say that? You just
I go, no, thank you. And I'll just take a regular menu.
Hey, that's a good thing. Now, as you're getting older, it's good to actually look younger.
Yes,
really
that's what everyone says, but I don't think I've quite gotten to the point where I can appreciate being a little younger.
You will. You will.
Yeah. But I think, Mom, definitely what you were saying about, the internet. I mean, I think I grew up right at that perfect crux where things started to switch all of a sudden, where, growing up with the, I wasn't quite, I guess, old or young, whatever it would work for like MySpace, but when like Tumblr was a big thing, AOL, like AIM was still around when I was thinking, I had one of those.
AIM? What's AIM?
AIM, AOL, America Online, the Instant Messenger. I had one.
Oh, wow. Never heard of it.
Yeah, that was still a thing. I mean, I think, and like when Facebook first was cool before all the parents got on and ruined everything, like that was. Yeah,
and then you guys moved on to.
Yeah, and then we moved on to Instagram. And I remember when Instagram was still cool, which we were really trying to bring that back, is where Instagram, like you take a picture of like your food and put all the stupid filters, or everything was like not super posed. It was very candid and very like natural.
Yeah. So it's changing now, you're saying.
Exactly. So I've seen the change, and I can tell you, I would hate to be like 13 nowadays. That's like, thank God I'm not 13 anymore. I'm very glad to not be that age. But because I think it's probably harder, especially seeing like if there was an Instagram when you're like, I mean, I remember how insecure I was like at 13, 14, and seeing what we have now. I very happy that I'm well past that at this point.
In what way?
Well, I think just I think the internet, there's just so much more out there. Just especially when you're very impressionable when you're 13. And I would never be saying this. I was 13. I would have said, no, I know everything. And but now again, looking back, I'm like, yeah, I didn't know everything. And I think that there's just so much out there. But what you were saying, how you were about not having as much control over your kids because of like the internet. I think that honestly, the internet kind of probably gave way, it definitely did, to the abundance of access that you can have, that like other people can have to your kids, because no longer was it, I can lock the doors, lock down the house, and okay, nothing's going to happen. Now you can, from, my phone, I can reach anyone in any place at any time that I would have liked, And so I think having that unparalleled access, there's something to be said. I think the internet, definitely that internet culture kind of came up in the early 2000s before I used the internet, but also in, well into the late 2010s and moving forward. I think definitely we're a big place because I know from people that are older than me that back when MySpace was a thing, a lot of the bands, they started out on MySpace. That's how they connected, by breaking down that fan, whoever, and artist interaction, by making it personal. Which was a positive if you're looking at it from all the good things. Unfortunately, obviously, with anything, it could be used for bad as well. And this is.
Did you get any like weird guys trying to talk to you on any of the platforms, any of the social
internet?
media?
I mean, me personally, well, So I think everyone has probably had some weird person reach out to them once or at some point in time in their life. And I think that was a big thing. It's like, and I remember someone who I worked with once was talking about like MySpace, and I guess they used to have like chat rooms where you could just talk to random people all over the world for I don't know who, and like you obviously maybe weren't telling who was who, and that was very scary. I mean, the whole like be careful of who you are on the internet. Well, like it's a real thing. But personally, no, I think I was very like I'm like there are certain things that I'm just like no. So I think I would have been very nervous about anyone like reaching out to me. Like I was kind of a shy kid, so I probably wouldn't have done anything with that. But I think I'm glad I didn't have anything.
Mire lo que dice el señor SR. 9:15.
Well, the group concert growth culture is enhanced and you did target fans direct messages. Yeah, so that's actually what happened to so the groupie, I think it definitely is. I know that there was one guy who he was charged. He's in prison now, I'm pretty sure, for like child pornography and child CP and stuff like that. His name was Austin Jones, and he was some YouTuber, which is now the kind of new like thing. My sister used to be into a bunch of YouTubers. I never quite got into that, but she was really into a bunch of YouTubers, and she never was into this guy, but he was DMing fans on Twitter, and he asked for fans for like videos of them, like, and it was kind of all under the guise of if you're my biggest fan, you'll do this. So I think that's like so I mean that was how he got caught, and obviously there are files and plenty of transcripts of what he said back and forth, and so now I think he's in prison, like for a long time.
That sounds familiar. Austin, what was his name?
Austin, is it Alex or Austin Jones? Something with an A. I know that.
There's an Alex Jones, the conspiracy guy, but
that definitely wasn't him. So sorry.
No, you're fine, but there could be two people named Alex. But
yeah,
I feel like the Austin name sounds familiar with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, YouTube, that'd be another one. People, put these people up on pedestals to become big fans, and then, they'll do anything. They think that they're special, and a lot of these things, when I look it up, like the articles, they're like girls that thought they were the guy's girlfriend. They let them on and thought that they were
called para. What is it? A para relationship. What was I telling you?
Parasocial relationship.
Yeah,
well, maybe not in the context of this. What
Zav was just talking about. Yeah. Say that again.
What is it called? Hold on. You said para what?
Parasocial relationship. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So there's a term for it.
I'm sorry. I think I missed that. What was the?
Okay, go ahead. What were you saying?
Basically one-sided relationships. Yeah, that would be. Yeah.
And an example is like one of like a.
Patty here, the guy who moved from. Yeah. Okay. So they know who I'm talking about. Yes.
Oh, okay. Wow. So now he's on Snapchat. Is that what? So now he's probably.
Moved from Twitter to Snapchat because he thinks it's private. Just so everyone knows, I'm gonna put a PSA as someone who's 22 or whatever. Snapchat doesn't disappear. It disappears from you and the other person. But Snapchat, as I was told once, has like warehouses full of all of anything you've ever sent. So if the law enforcement, for whatever reason, needs a warrant to go look at your stuff, it's all there. So just so everyone knows, Snapchat is more private. And just because it disappears from you and the other person doesn't mean it's completely gone.
That's good to know, because I was just about to say, because Snapchat disappears. So
they don't. Okay. Yeah, because they got sued too many. They were like in issues because they weren't getting rid of things. They're like, you can't do that. So I think that's why they have they do save everything for legal reasons, not for the sexting or something dumb. But should it be of more malicious intent?
Well, I think
he says Austin is in prison.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, I'll go back. What?
Go back to the one that Patty. You just
he's in prison.
Okay, the parasocial relationship type scam is rampant on Instagram. It is on Instagram? Because I know that part of, I know the case that you've been looking at, and a lot of people have been looking at the Delphi case recently with, what was it, Anthony double underline or double underscore shots or something, that apparently, according to the affidavit, he would take his initial conversations, I think, what was it, from Facebook or I don't know. And then he asked the girls, these 100 different underage girls, to go on to, what was the one you just said that disappeared?
Was it Snapchat? Yeah, that's probably.
He saw it as a safe platform because it supposedly disappears. But I suppose what you're saying, Francesca, is that now law enforcement can go back.
They can't. Okay, they have to obviously get a warrant, and they go through the proper legal channels. And Snapchat's probably not just going to give them user information.
Well, in the Delphi case, they probably will.
If they find the need, but like as far as it disappears from my being able to view something, and let's say if I send something to you, Mom, it would disappear from your device. Let's say. However, that doesn't mean it's gone permanently. Like it is somewhere in the internet, and by that, it's in Snapchat's like, however they store things. I don't know about that, but
warehouse or whatever.
Yeah, in their
cloud warehouse.
Yes, but Snapchat is that was kind of the new thing. I mean, it was the new Kick or AIM or the next platform that kids are using that they're able to get.
Oh, this is interesting. You see what Journey of Justice just said?
Oh yeah, they click on. Yeah, you do have the option to like.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, I don't know anything about that platform.
So. Yeah, that's.
Oh, so you could also screenshot, but then when you screenshot, it lets the other person
will notify the other person to let you know that they.
Wait, is Snapchat newer than Instagram? Then you're saying?
I'm not really sure when Instagram popped up, and I don't really remember when Snapchat popped up. I remember I had Instagram in middle school, but I didn't have Snapchat, I think, till like 8th grade, maybe. So like 13.
Yeah. Predators will catch kids and groom to feel special on public sites.
Yeah.
And I just think it's extremely dangerous when they're like fans of the people, like these young girls. And then they are like, oh my God, he likes me, and they'll do anything. And they don't see it probably in the moment, what the heck's going on, until later, probably as they become an adult, and they're probably like, what the heck?
I think the biggest thing here, other than these maybe men, which I think there obviously have, as long as there have been people that we can be in awe of, there have been fans that are the same way. But I think what the biggest issue is obviously the fact that they're underage. Now, if there's 2 consenting adults, that's that's between whoever and whoever. But in the event that it is an underage child, with someone with a clear, difference in, the power dynamic and, and maybe there's some grooming, this is, the big issue. Not even so much that, let's say, a fan's sleeping with an artist, because I'm sure that's being done. But again, as long as it's 2 consenting adults, and everyone's in agreement with what's happening, that's fine. But it's really that we're minors, and some of them were groomed. And again, the power dynamic, which is I think huge, especially because obviously these guys knew they could, because these girls were fans of them. That's Warped Tour was a very interesting place. There was one guy, I think his name was like Christopher Drew. I think he stopped. I never met him. I accidentally ran into him on Warped Tour, like quite literally ran into the man and was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and continued walking. But I think he was accused of sexual assault, so he got SA, and he never returned to Warped Tour after a while, or he stopped touring, I think. And there was another group. I'm trying to think the name of the group. So I wasn't into them, but they were known for like notoriously being like not okay, like just very icky behavior is the best way to put it, like politely. And
they're still around, you're saying? They still are a band?
I don't know if they're still around. I just remember, Blood on the Dance Floor. That's this weird band.
I know, I've heard of that, because that guy, I watched a little bit about that. Go ahead.
I've seen it, and it was like a duo, I think. I wasn't in that because they were like too well, first of all, their music was weird and like kind of weird. Like it was just very, very sexual, like just blatantly sexual. And it was a little weird because like you'd think, okay, you're kind of, if you're on stage screaming to a bunch of like 13, 14-year-olds about very blatant sexual acts and this and that, I'm like, that's a little weird. Like, I just, again, wasn't even my, like, and it was also, but it wasn't even just, it just, for whatever reason, just kind of icked me. So it never quite sat right. Like, why was this so obtusely, like, sexual the way it was? Like, it just seemed.
Yeah, I've seen some videos of him that what's his name? Begins with a D, I feel like.
Even in
like he would do things on stage that were very inappropriate. It's like, oh my God, how is he getting away with this? But now he's not, right? Is there charges against him?
Supposedly, and a woman from another group that I listen to her now, but a woman, she's one of the few female fronted bands, I guess, in this kind of scene. Ash Costello, and she was touring with him, and she actually left. She told her whole band, we're not touring anymore. She left the tour early because she was so disgusted by the behavior that she saw. She left the tour. Her whole band, they left the tour. She said, I'm not doing this. And she wrote, I don't know if it was on that document that was sent, but she put out this like statement detailing pretty in depthly her own experience and some of what she saw, and that this is why she couldn't do it. Or why she couldn't continue with this person.
I'm glad people like stand up for that and do.
Yeah, that was pretty great.
Sorry, I keep interrupting. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm looking at Andrew Johnson. I don't think I've seen him before in any chats anywhere, but he makes such an interesting point.
This one,
yes, that he himself was a drummer with a couple of name bands and group.
Yeah.
Decent person walks away if underage, even 60, 70.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what we would hope that every guy would think. Okay, yeah, even if they're just 17, no, just walk away for your own sake, but also for the the girl. Like, they don't, at 17 you don't know what you're doing. As someone who was recently 17 and didn't know what they were doing.
This is, you go ahead. What were you going to say, Zav? I'm looking at what Patty just said.
Oh, no, nothing. I just put it up. I don't think I was going to say anything.
Maxwell, older men, but I think also, I mean, again, most of these guys are probably closer to my age, 23, 24, 20. Like, they were not old dudes. Like, they were relatively young. I mean, so age is not really a factor. And if you can be gross or creepy, you can be gross or creepy at any age.
That's true.
But I think that there still is a power differential between a 23-year-old man and a 13-year-old girl, let's say, who's having a parasocial love affair with you're in a band. There's, but I think that 23, 4-year-old men in bands, let's say, who have been inappropriate based on that Twitter PDF or whatever, I think it is more difficult, I think, for young men than an older man, because the frontal, as I've said many times, the frontal lobe doesn't really develop, especially in guys, fully develop until age 20 to 30. And so their impulse control.
Well, I think that's more like, am I going to drag race my dumb friend down the street, or like, let me, that may be more of an impulsive decision. Like, that's bad. That's illegal. Don't do that. But I feel like there's shit, like, I wouldn't consider, so, having an inappropriate relationship with a 13-year-old exactly impulsive, essentially. I think that's more of a decision versus, like, again, let me go, I don't know, whatever guys do with each other, like, there's a difference between being impulsive and stupid and doing something that is like very there's no gray area. It's very, you don't do this. This is bad. Very bad, so I think there is a difference.
And there's probably a lot of drugs involved too, right? I've read some situations where they were giving the girls drugs and they were.
I mean, yeah, there was definitely a lot of weed going on. As I remember going to work toward, I was 13, but and I think you were definitely allowed to smoke because it's outside, so people were smoking cigarettes. But there's a lot of weed going around. I don't know about anything particularly harder, from my understanding, but no one ever offered me anything. But probably good, probably because I looked like I was literally like a very, very much a child, which I guess I'm glad someone had some morals. But no, No, I definitely, I know there was a lot of weed smoking. I mean, you could smell it in the air, which was like, I mean, I didn't partake, I didn't care, I didn't know, but it wasn't like, I don't think there's anything particularly hard. Probably a lot, maybe cocaine at most. I don't know.
But maybe behind the scenes, though, maybe, I don't know. I read the one girl, she put out actually a YouTube video, and she said he would shoot her up with heroin. He was a drummer. I think he was a drummer for her. It was on the list. So when I clicked on it, it took me to her YouTube channel, one of the links.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found an article of hers too, that she was talking about how he would like shoot her up with heroin. He got her on drugs. And,
oh my.
Yeah. So it does go on. It was one of those bands. And that could be really powerful. Go ahead.
I'm just going to raise my hand.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I want to know, I'm so interested. First of all, Andrew, I just want to say something. I'm reading everybody's chat here, but Andrew Johnson spoke again, the drummer, former drummer in bands. He says, fans, ... say hello, ... I think he's saying for himself.
Yeah.
Fans come up, ... say hello, ... talk about the music, ... done and goodbye. And so
that's usually how the interactions go. That's the way interactions with me, having guys in the different bands that I've met. That's how it ends. You talk about this, whatever, and you take a photo and you leave. But
I think it's really good that Andrew is. I personally like that. First of all, I do like that there's a man in the chat. Rare these days, but not to sound sexist or anything. But I really am glad that Andrew's saying, from his perspective, he sort of had a code of behavior.
Or just knows, what appropriate behavior. I feel like you wouldn't go and, I think, and that's, I think it proves to show that there is in any case, in any, whatever what profession you have or whatever, there's always a way you behave. Right. And you should conduct yourself in right, especially if you're dealing with children. I feel like you should probably, you do have to unfortunately consider that into consideration.
Patty you had up on the banner what Patty said, something about and I didn't quite understand what the end was. So I was hoping you could put it up. Maybe Patty could explain that we all need the conversation needs to happen.
Was it a long?
Oh yeah, yes, brain development is a factor, but that's why discussion on both sides.
That one
we discussed. What was that? What were we talking about?
This one. I was saying that the frontal lobe does not.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Sorry to cut you off, but
no, it's all right.
What Patty said again, that we can talk to our sons and daughters about taking advantage of others. Checking IDs.
Is that what she means by both sides?
I think that's important. Yes. And that's one thing, especially as someone who's young and, or I don't know, it doesn't matter what age you are, but I feel like that's something that I, as someone who's young in these conversations never sees, is that it's not just, it shouldn't be just on women to only be careful of these things. And I think, and it's something so ingrained, honestly, in our culture, I feel like, because, when we think, oh, no one really thinks twice. I obviously have friends who have brothers, older, younger, who have always been out late to leave the house whenever the heck they want. They come and go. No one really cares. My guy friends, who don't have any girl siblings, let's say, they're allowed to go in and out, and their parents really don't think too much about that, probably. And but those who have girls are always a little more careful. And that's not to say that you shouldn't be careful. You should be careful of your kids anyway, because
there's a double standard.
Abuse and that things can happen to guys and girls, and or whoever that knows no gender, no sex, no anything that can happen to absolutely everyone. But that the conversation, at least that I have always seen, has always been ladies, you need to go in packs or protect yourself. And it's I understand I need to protect myself, always. But why do we not have these same conversations with guys? And I think and that's something that, once I get to be maybe someday in the very, very, very distant future, be a parent, if I have boys, that'll be the exact conversation, say, I don't get that whatever these girls are, they've been, but you on your end have to be also on your best behavior. You need to look out for your other guy friends. You need to look out for look out for other people. And I think, and if you see something, say something, You know,
Mhm.
that's what you need. And so that's what I think is really missing in the conversation, because it takes two, you know, it takes a village, and everyone should be having this conversation and be emphasizing it in the same way, I think.
What do you
Yeah.
think,
My 2
Sam?
cents. I'm not a
No,
parent.
I agree. Yeah, I totally agree. You're right, because you don't really hear. Well, I don't have any kids, but I mean, you
All
don't
right.
hear a lot of people like,
Yeah,
oh, telling guys like, watch out. It's always like, if girls travel in groups, like you were saying, like, oh, it's always to girls, but yeah, guys too, like boys, I should say, younger
yeah.
boys. What do you think, Amy?
As a mother.
As a
Yeah.
mother,
As a mother, what do you think? Because
I
a
have
doctor,
two.
professional.
Yeah, not as a professional. As a mother, I have two precious daughters that, even because they're young adults and technically no, they're both emancipated because
Well,
they're
thank
over
you,
18
Colin.
now.
Sorry.
I still am very, very nervous. But, it's, I don't, part of it is that you love your children and you don't want to see them come to harm. But I do think that there's a lot of what we call laissez-faire parenting, meaning just do what you want, free range parenting, or that I agree with Francesca, there is a double standard that boys, children that are boys, they, especially as they emerge into their teens, it's just like, go on. And I mean, I even see that, let's just say with friends, that have male children. I'll say, well, have you talked to them about like STDs? Make sure you use condoms. I'm talking to my friends about their sons. Or do you, what do you think about, they have a girlfriend, how about birth control, pregnancy prevention? And most of my friends say, oh no, I never talked about that with my son. And I'm assuming that the girl knows what she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, that's really interesting.
Which is ironic because, well, since my mother's a doctor, as everyone here knows, I get told a lot of horror stories, tales of caution and all that stuff. I've been told for 22, almost 23 years now. But ironically, you're like, yeah, that's the girl's job. The amount of friends, people that I know or acquaintances who know that my mother's a doctor and who have come to me for advice regarding such things, who have absolutely no idea on their own, as it's kind of like, I don't know who we should be trusting here, because no one seems to know what's happening. But yeah, I hope that conversation changes, because I kind of, especially growing up, like, it just was something that always bugged me. It's like, why is everyone telling me I have to be careful? If I have to be careful, why are we telling people who I'm supposedly being supposed to be careful of? That's where, like, I'm not going to do anything, but
Yeah.
I who knows? I'm not a parent, so what do I know? But
How do you think that this internet age type, like the technology, has affected the way parents parent? Do you think they?
I think it's harder, probably. I mean, at least from what I can tell, having, again, like my mom said, instead of being able to, having kids come in at night and knowing that within your four walls, what you're showing your kids is so much easier to be controlled. But now, just because you keep them in your four walls, if you have the internet, you have the world at your fingertips. And
it could also be in the middle of the night.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And it could be at any time of the day. So I think it's definitely, because again, now you may be able to, your kid may not get snatched in your front yard, but they may be talking to God knows who on the internet. And so I think there is kind of trying to find that balance. Because again, I think the internet's important. I think it's, it's unfortunately the thing that, connects all, everyone today and everything. But I think it's just, you're just finding a balance of, and hoping I guess, as mom says, giving you the tools all these years, and all I can do is hope that you use them, at your age. And so I think that's kind of what, but I bet you it's probably harder. I mean, with what you're contending with the world, and, you're constantly being shown what's new, what's this, what's that. So yeah, I'm sure it's harder. Yeah.
Now, I like what California Thunder says. She went to a parenting seminar when her children were in their teens, and the speaker or whatever said, assume everything your child tells you is a lie, within reason, of course, which What do you think of that, Francesca?
Oh, shit.
I don't think you can play the fifth here, but
What do you say?
I don't think I can plead the fifth here.
Oh, no, you can't.
As someone who was a teenager not too long ago, really, I think of what my friends told me, that their parents had absolutely no idea what was going about. I mean, I will tell you, I'll give you this reassurance, Mom. I was the tamest of all my friends or anyone ever knew. All right? I live a very boring life in comparison, which I like. Don't get me wrong.
Right. Okay, so my nerves are shot. I can imagine a less tame child.
No, okay. But that, so I think there is. I would say that would probably be a good thing to take. I mean, again, and whatever your whatever's appropriate for your family, just
Yes,
I think whatever, then keep that in mind. So if you're saying X and you're like, okay, they're probably doing this, but honestly, like let's say it's drinking in the house. Like I know Mom had a rule where it's like when we got to a certain age, you're allowed to have a little alcohol, a glass of wine with dinner.
Well, that's because we're Latin.
Yes, and by that I mean I was like 16, 17. So I was like older, right? Supervised, never alone, whatever. And as we got older, obviously that that changed. But I mean, so let's say if you are and you think your kid may be okay, well, as long as it's within whatever is appropriate and whatever you've set in your house is probably fine. But I mean, yeah, probably that's a great message. Within reason is probably not all that true.
Yeah. Now, Brendan Schmeld, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. He says it all comes down to how your father or mother treat you growing up, speaking from experience, because my age is over 30 and under 60. Yeah. I mean, and then he said something else, treat others how you want to be treated yourself, is a saying from his childhood memories. So, yeah.
Most problems can be solved, honestly, when I look at them with that statement right there. Just treat others how you want to be treated. And like 95% of your problems would probably just disappear, with people at least, like generally. But no, but that's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah, it is, but you're right. Yeah.
How was it? I don't want to put you on the spot, Tiffany, but how was it? How were you brought up? Or do you have brothers? Did you find a double standard, or were you afraid?
Yeah, I have two. I mean, I have two brothers and one sister. So it was like 2 and 2 girls and 2 boys. Double standard. I feel like I don't know. Let me think about that here.
All right,
I was just strict. My mom was really strict. I mean, I went to Catholic, private school.
Oh, you did too?
My whole life.
And
yeah.
the thing is, sometimes I feel I was too strict, that maybe if I'd been a little less, I don't think I was an authoritarian. I wasn't a laissez-faire parent, but I do think I was quite authoritative. And I think maybe if I'd been a little looser, maybe my children would have been maybe a little more honest with me. I don't know. Did you think that you couldn't tell your mom stuff? Not you, Francesca.
Oh.
I know you.
I'm about to be like, I had to answer this question.
No. I already know the answer to that.
Well, remember, she's just said, though, she's glad now that as an adult, she looks back and she's glad that you were the way you were.
Yeah, but are you glad? Do you think, are you glad your mother was also wrong?
Yes. When I look back, yeah. I mean, not at the time, of course, but when I look back, I'm like, gosh, I'm really glad. Yes.
Definitely. Okay, but then this is just really a question as a parent who's still parenting, and you're young in comparison to me, Tiffany. Do you think, just tell me the truth, your opinion, if you feel comfortable, do you believe that because your mom sounds very similar to the way I parent, that if she had been less strict, you might have been less rebellious? Because I know you've shared with the community you were rather rebellious during some period of your life. What are your thoughts on that? If you feel comfortable.
Because I mean, I it's hard to tell like why I did what I did, but I feel like I don't think so. No, I think I would have just done the same thing.
You do?
Like me. Yeah, I don't think I was, I don't think it was like necessarily like to like make a point or to like rebel or anything that had to do with like going against my parents. I just think it was just how I wanted to be. So no, I don't think personally, but some people might have a different answer, obviously. But no, right. I think I would have been the same, to be honest.
Really? Okay. I think I was what I call a foot soldier as a child and young adult, and even currently at age 60, I still, even at work, they're like, jump. I'm like, how high do you want me to jump? But part of that, I think, is because I was brought up so rigidly. Oh, I mean, I love my dad and, abuelita and pop.
He was downstairs.
Abuelita's right next door here in my room next door. And I love them, but Pop definitely ruled me, not Francesca and her sister, but me with an iron fist. And it was sort of like, if you don't get excellent grades, we'll put you out on the street. Not that bad, but he did say, my father, God rest his soul, I love you. And I think it was in some ways, a cultural blind spot on his part. But I remember I was like 10, 12 years old. He's like, if you aren't a virgin, you're not going down the aisle with a white dress. I'm like, and if I ever found out any of my daughters had sex before they're married, I'm going to take a suitcase and put you on the doorstep. I'm like, all right. I mean, and I
were 10 and like,
I don't know, I'm afraid to have a boyfriend. I'm afraid, that it was that era where, and I feel that for me, that amount of rigidity, in a personality like mine, just was not that healthy for me, because the more rigid it was like, okay. I don't think that that's good. But I have siblings. I have 3 siblings, and just to go to your point, Tiffany, I have a couple of siblings that were just wild childs, and my parents parented the same way with them, and they felt free, woohoo, So part of it is maybe our innate personality. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. I really do. So you didn't rebel at all, you're saying. You were
No, she was so good. So good.
Horrible. But it's not, I'm laughing because I wish I had. I wish I had.
I wish you had to do something.
I'm sure you do. I mean, I really do wish I had the courage to be more rebellious like my siblings, honestly. I think the other thing is that I grew up in Catholic, right? Being Catholic, but it was, you'll laugh at this, Tiffany, but it was when we were growing up, we had to go to confession every Saturday. My mother would drop all 4 of us off, and we'd get in a long line. And I remember thinking, as she would drop us off and go shopping, I'm thinking, now why don't my parents?
She go to confession?
How bad could we be? But of course, I never said anything. And then you'd hear the little you'd go, and you'd hear the little screen, and then the priest, and then you'd say, "Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It has been 1 week since I might have had an impure thought." Okay, you get the idea. And we had to wear a veil to go into church. That's how old I am.
That's how back in the day.
Because Vatican II hadn't really taken hold where I grew up, and culturally that we had to wear the veil. So you get the picture, honey.
Wow.
Yeah, it's deep, man. It's deep. So, I don't know, man.
I think it's like what different kids need. I feel like, you know what I mean? Because someone in the chat said that some, they think they would have done better with more strictness. But I think that's kind of like every kid kind of is a little different. I mean, I think I'm someone who generally with, good, I do better when things are structured out for me. Like, that's just kind of the person I am. I enjoy not having things structured because I like to do what I want to do, but I do better usually when things are kind of already planned out for me or whatever. Or I have something to occupy my time with. But I mean, like, my sister is someone who is completely different. She gets up at like 6 a.m. She has her coffee. She'll be like, I'm going to the coffee shop, and then I'm going to class, and then this. So she's very like, she does things herself.
She's really self.
So for her, she may be, someone where
she might not have needed,
less, but like you could allow maybe more versus I, which was, I wouldn't say I was probably the wild in comparison of us two, probably.
You were what?
A little more wild than she was.
Oh,
and by wild, like not even that wild.
Like, I mean, you are what? That word.
Wild. Oh, RM, the more wild one in comparison to my sister. But we're relatively boring.
We are relatively boring. But okay, so now I'm sorry to go back. Is it okay Tiffany?
No, yeah, you're fine. Yeah.
Because Thomas Randall says at Dr. Amy, I remember when, me and my brother were young and living in North Florida. We lived near Panama City when we were kids. We would leave the hotel. Wait a minute.
We live near, I think they meant near Panama City.
Yeah, but he would leave a hotel. I'm confuzzled.
We could leave
having to worry about weirdos. That's true.
I think it's also like, I guess it depends. I think the same way we're like, all these terrible things that are happening, were they always happening? I think they're worse. But I think they always happen. We just didn't know about them because we have such instant access to literally everything we want to know. So I think they were always weirdos. I mean, I think back to, this is more of a personal anecdote, but like when I was, we were talking about this recently, Mom, actually, how I noticed when I was, I didn't notice, you noticed, but when I was like, let's say 9 to maybe 13-ish, 14-ish, where I'd get stared at by weird men in places, and not just like the glance, but like staring. And I never know, because I was 10. What do I know? Yeah. And a couple times, Mom had to like tell them, like, "Can you stop looking at my kid, please?"
Oh, I did. I
remember so embarrassed. But it's like, you're also, I get why she did it, and I'm glad you did it. But how the fact that I was sometimes I feel like, or like, I remember I was walking my dog. I think I was like 16. I was walking my dog when we were in Jersey, right? And
memories are coming back. Yeah, I will say my piece on this, but go ahead.
But I was walking the dog. I think I was like 15, 16, right? Because I was a sophomore, something like that. And I was walking Mocha. Mind you, I was walking her in like sweatpants and a t-shirt. So there was absolutely nothing to look at. Like, I looked like a tiny little boy if I put my hood up.
Yeah.
And this man drove by in his truck on like the opposite side of the road, screamed something out the window like, "Hey, something." And I didn't say anything. I just kind of kept walking because I was like, "Oh, that was weird." He turned his truck around, went the opposite way, and said something. And I think I just stood there with my dog because I was like, I'm just going to keep walking. But the fact that stuff happened more when I was younger than it does as like an adult. Which
that bothers me.
Really creepy realization when you think of it. And someone else told me too, like one of my friends was like, "Isn't it kind of weird that like, I feel like I was kind of catcalled more as a child than I am as an actual adult."
And I'm going to tell you,
scary.
It's sick. It's sick. And I'm going to tell you, as a parent, it really bothers me. And I don't think it really clicked until, honestly, I became more active in this true crime community, that this was really, because, I can say one thing as a professional and I know all this stuff, right? That supposedly. But when you're parenting, it's a totally different experience. But I do recall, I mean, I'm going to go back, and of course, Francesca doesn't remember this because she was in a stroller. You had to be 2, maybe, Francesca. And I remember where we lived at the time. Sorry?
So I definitely didn't remember any of this.
No, but at the time, I was just walking her, probably from Starbucks or something, on my day off in the pram. And I'll never forget, this guy walked by me and he said, "You need to be careful of your child because she's so beautiful. Somebody could take her."
Whoa, that's.
I've been like, "Well, I'm going home."
I was like,
"No,
what are you saying?" But I had that happen to you. Then there were several occasions, one when you were about 10 or 11, somewhere else where you were in your volleyball gear. And this man, we were walking out, getting something to drink from Panera. I remember exactly where this was. And the man, who had to be in his 40s, and Francesca was only 10 or 11, he stopped slowly and he just walked along with us and was staring at her. And I tried to ignore it. And I know you can remember this because you were like mad at me that I said anything. But
I was embarrassed. As an adult.
It is embarrassing. But after about 3 or 4 minutes of this, I looked at him and I said, "Could you stop staring at my daughter, please?" And he was like, "I can stare at whoever I want."
Wait, was this in the restaurant?
Yes. No, that was a different time. Oh. But this was no. And then I said to him something like, I was so angry. I said to him, "Would you put your tongue back in your mouth?" Because he was just like, Like that. So he said,
Wait, sorry, can we pause just for whoever said, are we dissing all men? Should I go? No,
No.
obviously we're not talking about all men, unless you're one of these men who likes to stare at little girls. But I would assume not. You know, there are, I mean, like we said, there's good and bad in any sort of age, group, gender. There's always good people and there's always bad. And in this case, we're talking about the gross men who, at least because they were only men who ever stared at me, there have been no women. That was.
Do you see this?
But
Okay,
there are only men that ever looked at me.
Sorry, Francesca. Do you see this person?
Yes.
Yeah, they got him. They've removed him.
Yeah.
All right.
It's just on a delay on the StreamYards, but I see because I went into YouTube to go remove it, and I see that they got it.
Okay, good.
They got them all.
No. This is not to bash.
Never. We don't bash any. We don't do generalizations like that. But
No, Batman. Yeah, Batman. Batman's awesome too. So no, Batman. We're not talking. We're just talking about.
No, I'm just giving my experience of what happened to me as a mother with my daughter. I'm not saying all men are like this. It is ironic.
Not all men aren't like this.
There were a couple of other times that this happened, and that I had to literally a guy with his wife at a table.
That was probably the most uncomfortable because that was the time one time that I noticed it before you did. So I stood,
and they were sitting at a table right next to us.
Yeah, and I stood behind you because I saw him, and I was like, "That's very uncomfortable." And I sat in front of you. I stood behind you, so you wouldn't, he couldn't look at me. But he was at dinner with some woman, and I remember you were like, "Could you stop?" And he was like, "I'm not doing anything." And it was like, "Bro, you're at dinner with some woman. Like, you definitely shouldn't be looking at like a literal 12-year-old." Like.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess my point is, was it Batman you said?
Yeah.
So these are our few experiences with really creepy men.
And I think it's important to bring this up. I didn't at all mean to bash all men at all. But at the same time, when something like this has happened and my daughter, who was baby to age 12, 13, it happened up to when you were 17. I do remember the last time. I think it makes me wonder, okay, if this is happening in front of me, what would happen if my child is out on her own?
Exactly. Wow.
So I think it bears looking into and talking about because it is something.
The more you know.
I'm speaking now from a mother personal, not as a physician. It is something that really upset me. And I was trying to figure out, well, how does one respond to this kind of thing? So, I mean, it's dicey, man. I'm going to say it's dicey.
Sorry, I'm like trying to make sure all these are deleted because it's so crazy how they could come in and have so many profiles and then there's still so many with the same exact name. They came back, but
I guess they're bombing or something. I mean,
we're getting them, but it's just I just want to make sure that. And Batman, now I hope you didn't leave. Batman, come back. He actually really is cool. He's here every live. He probably just is misunderstanding.
Yeah, so. Maybe he came in on the wrong time. Don't worry, we're not going to bash
on
now
now you've got evil Abe's highway to hell.
Wow. What are they saying?
I don't really.
What? Yeah, I'm sure the mod, you got it right. Seems like by the time I go to do it, they are getting off.
Well, someone said thank you for Polly. Said thank you for talking about this. Because this is an experience I lived to when I was a kid, though no one talked about it and was scared and shocked. I think that's why things need to happen. So, like, you can, and I think that's why it's important. Because then if you that's the same thing that goes for whether you're going to a festival with, the best thing you can do is know what's out there and be able to see that so that you know what to do in that situation, is be equipped with the best, so you can do the best in whatever situation you're in. And it definitely needs to be helped because the only way to, and this I think is the way you do with many things, the way to, bring attention or awareness or to not maybe normalize it, but is not the right word, but make it a conversation that needs to happen is by talking about it. If we don't talk about it, then no one's ever going to know.
I think that what one of my colleagues, we were just having this discussion not too long ago about the fact that almost essentially prepubescent girls are, the object or are objectified by not every man in the street. I'm talking, I can count 5 times probably in my life that this happened. Okay. Oh,
Thanks, Dorsey.
That's my, that's
Oh, I was just about to type and say it. That has to be. Is that your?
that's I think either my sister or my grandmother. It's
I think
one of
it's-
Thank
think
you,
it's-
Dorsey.
it's my
Aw.
sister.
Yay, she's watching.
Thank you, Dorsey.
Thank you, Dorsey.
And we don't hate men at all. No.
No.
But so I'm saying on 5 things, but 5 incidences I had this happen as a mother to my child, and I was present. And I think it's what I talked to a couple of my male friends, and they are colleagues recently about this, who are psychologists, really dealing a lot with family issues or family therapy and family dynamics and children and stuff. And this one particular friend said to me, do you realize that those 5 men that did that to a child, a baby, a 2-year-old, a Francesca, 10, 12, and then 16, really, those are pedophiles? I'm like, really?
Which is also horrible to think about, because that's like you're breathing the same air.
Right. So, I do think this is a conversation, and it does worry me, like when I see what the Delphi case that we've been looking at more closely recently. I wonder, we don't know too much about it because the police have held it close to the vest, or law enforcement. But I mean, were they victims of pedophiles? I don't know.
You're talking about like the people that
Perpetrated their
Yeah.
murder.
Yeah,
I don't
no,
know.
I think now after this new information, I think it's somehow connected, whether it's actually them or they somehow, because they had a connection. I mean, they made contact with them on Instagram. That
That's right.
profile did. So
Yes.
then
Well,
she-
I guess which profile? I didn't see the profile. I just heard that this.
Now, Anthony Schott's profile made contact with Libby on
Oh, yes.
Instagram,
Yes.
and supposedly Libby's was private, which means he would have had to been like friends. Like she would have had to have accepted her. What do they call Instagram? Friends? I don't even know how that works. Or followers. So yeah. So it's interesting. We'll see what happens. The law enforcement on that case is just so weird. They've been just handling it so weird.
I mean, what is going on with Evil Abe? I just finished saying that you men are not NOT.
No, I think what they're. Oh, never mind. I don't know.
Maybe are they
I
talking
just
about?
said I was giving 5 examples of men that acted inappropriately to a prepubescent daughter, and you're saying Evil Abe's Highway to Hell, that I have said that all men are
See, that people misunderstand. I know.
That's a real misunderstanding, and I don't know if.
Okay, well
if
then
you're not
maybe we
filtering
can say this. They're to say all X group of people, let's say, is bad. No one should ever say that, because not X group of people all of them cannot be intrinsically bad. So if we're speaking in specific instances. So the 5 guys of the incidents of the guys we mentioned, those were bad people, probably. I mean, if you're looking at one, 10-year-old, God knows how many 10-year-olds you're looking at.
Yes, and you're right, Evil Abe. I did catch the stories, plural, about, I don't know if they were hot, and I don't know if they were blonde, but definitely school teachers that are females have absolutely perpetrated on minor male children.
Children, yes.
Yeah, so it happens both ways. So but why do we have 2 Evil Abes that are different? Like we have 2 Evil Abe Highway to Hell and Evil Abe Meat Hole Manor. Huh? Are you the same person? What a coincidence that they both came in around the same time. Interesting.
But it is if they're having trouble understanding, I definitely want to clarify what I was saying so that they can understand better.
Yeah, and I think also, sorry.
No, go ahead.
But to say, I mean, at least in my, yours and my mom experience, we haven't had any women look at me funny. So we can't really speak to that, at least anecdotally, we can't speak to that because that hasn't happened that we are aware of, at least. But there obviously is women that do also are pedophiles and prey on young children. So I mean, it definitely anyone can be, the villain, and anyone can be a victim. That's the unfortunate.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, because she's just telling us about they're both telling us about their experiences, and it happened with a male. Yeah. Who do you guys see a Zamora in chat? Because everybody's saying hi, and I'm not seeing a Zamora. I'm so confused.
No,
right
I
now.
think it's. Wait a minute. I'm thinking maybe they're talking about Brittany Zamora was the perpetrator.
Oh, look, there's another Evil Abe. Evil Abe's looking at Paradise.
Is cloning. Oh my goodness, it's like a self-cloning.
Well, someone said that. Well, this evil Abe said that they're being timed out by the mods.
Yeah, well, make sure, guys. I feel like that maybe the mods are just doing it because they're seeing the name. Just make sure if it's if they're not saying anything not inappropriate, you don't have, just because the name, you don't have to time it out because it's not really.
Yeah.
But, okay. So so he has a couple different. I'm a bit hard to get rid of. He probably has a couple different than he goes. Okay, so let's just move on. It's all good. Just be respectful. You're all right. All right. So what do we got? That's a person involved in. Okay, so what we were talking about. Sorry, guys. I feel like I got us off track here now. What is this? Incited bullying. Oh wait, but women may do harm to kids otherwise also. I had an abusive female teacher that incited bullying against me.
Well, that's really wrong.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry that happened to you. That's bad. That's really bad.
Well, what's interesting, research bears this out, is in terms of DV or in terms of childhood, not SA, but victimization of children in physical and verbal abuse by parents when they were growing up. It is really interesting that the studies show that the boys go, if those children aren't, cared for, counseled, don't have a healing from that childhood trauma by their parents, and they go on to be an abuser in a relationship as an adult, in intimate partner violence or even interpersonal violence, like at work or whatever, the men tend to be the aggressor and tend to be the perpetrator of domestic violence in relationships if they go on to be domestic violent. The women end up being the victim, and so when you
so like the pattern, or like I said, they call it like the cycle of abuse. One kind of they kind of follow specific roles. If let's say they don't get help for their unresolved trauma, so they fall into specific roles. I could see that.
It's interesting that the women become the victim and the men become
the woman would be, if she was going to be an abuser, you would think she would go on to be an abuser, but most often she goes on to be a victim of abuse. Again, she just keeps living it out.
That's interesting. That is interesting. I wonder if it's something in.
Oh, see, somebody just said it better than I did. Hello, baby, just said it much better than. Thank you. She said, men externalize abuse.
Okay.
That's a good way of saying it.
Yeah.
Women most often internalize it and they remain as victims. Very, very interesting. And self-harm.
Yeah, okay.
And I wonder, hello, baby, if you can answer this question.
I think that's a good way to describe it, yeah.
And I agree with Evil I'm just going to say Pinhead Paradise, that men are abused in domestic households as well. I totally agree.
That's something that's also not talked about enough.
And it isn't talked about enough.
And I mean, even in like statistics, like we have a lot of statistics, or more statistic, let's say, on like number for women, but as far as men, like there is not enough awareness. I think there's still, culturally, we kind of think that men should just be, I don't know what the people expect them to do in the situation, but if they're in, an abusive situation.
Where they're the victim.
Yeah, where they're the victims. I think they kind of just make, like, I guess, maybe a stereotypical assumption that men should just, I don't know, fight their way out of it, or who knows. But yeah, it's something that definitely needs much more much more awareness and just needs to be discussed more. That men can definitely, and that doesn't make you less of a man or less of a person. You know, that is an unfortunate thing that happened. No,
and I definitely have seen many male patients who are victims of spousal abuse, and it is much more difficult to get services for them
Really.
than it is for a female, and it really is a double standard that is unfortunate.
You think do you think that'll be changing in the near future with the way things are going? Like for it to not be so like that anymore.
You really have
think that, man.
interesting. Hay gente que está diciendo cosas horribles aquí. Okay, entonces, Journey of Justice.
Wait, this one. Estimated 80-90% of offenders are male, while tender about 40%.
Yes, somebody. Oh, sorry, I'm reading. Somebody crocheting Bambi or Bammy. I'm sorry. Maybe she's in Alabama. I don't know. Men are told to suck it up and stop being a baby. It's horrible, and it leads to more abuse. Yes, I think I agree with you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, we know she has many trolls today.
I know. I haven't had a
I think this is. I think when people discuss sensitive topics that may be may hit some difficult places in their own personal journey, then that's when you get anger, you might get trolling, etc.
Okay, yeah.
I just hope that the people that are trolling can find the help that they might need if they do.
Everybody, should I do subscriber mode? But then I don't want to kick anybody out that's here. Well, I guess all they have to do is hit subscribe. It's free, huh? Because that'll trolls can do that too, right? What do you guys think? You could do it where only subscribers could chat.
How do you know if somebody's a subscriber? Is it because they've got the little YouTube thing next to
No,
it?
you don't know. You don't, but they just won't be able to come in unless if they hit the subscribe button. No, those are members that are green, and then the blue is the moderators. But
why did these have a YouTube logo? What does that mean? I guess everybody does.
Oh, you're on the StreamYard side, right?
Yes.
So you're looking at, yeah, they all do for some reason on that side,
see.
but then I don't know why. Oh, because you could stream through other platforms like Facebook. So it'll show you what they're going through. Yeah.
Did you want to put back up Journey of Justice? What he or she had to say?
The one I had up before this one.
We'll say they had to say. Oh, that's interesting. About 40% of offenders of children under 12 are children. Oh, interesting. So they're saying that often children or adolescents. I'm not sure what kind of offenders they're talking about. Are they talking about physical and verbal abuse or SA, or I'm not sure. And where did they get those statistics? Interesting. But maybe you could answer the question. I'm not sure what you mean by an offender. And Journey of Justice. So can you flesh that out?
Well, I guess the question would be where is that statistic? Or where did you get it
from? Yeah, but I don't even know what the offender means.
What do you mean a link, evil aid? I'm not sure what you mean by a link. What link?
Para hablar.
Huh.
Maybe he wants to talk.
Well, no, it's not an open panel or anything, but then I don't understand the next part. Says, and I will go easy. Oh well, I don't.
Oh, means that he won't be aggressive. That he wants to give.
I will go easy. Oh, I was looking. Duh, I was reading.
And he says it seems I can't chat.
Well, I mean,
No, I'm not gonna do the open panel right now, but Jackie Chan. I don't know. Any other questions, you guys, or anything else you want to talk about?
I just realized I was so close for a while to the screen because I was trying to read. And my face was just so I was just so close for no reason. I think Journey means perpetrator as an offender. I don't know what that means.
Okay, a perpetrator, but I
for
what?
That's like for
surprising though that it would be. They're saying 40%. Wow, I would never have guessed that.
well,
Yeah,
that's
where
what
can we
I don't want
find
to do
that?
citation.
So
then this person says, Ang Texas Sun says, what happens to an adolescent SA offender? Don't they become an adult? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. It can, but it not necessarily, because some of the, quite a number of new studies, actually since 2013, looking at brain studies, show that what happens to an adolescent as an offender? Okay, offender. Yes, I'm sorry. I thought you meant a victim, but we do think. Oh, and I think the science, there is scientific evidence, albeit it's in its infancy, that PED SA offenders, whether adolescent or adult, there are brain differences if you look at the MRI. And so there is a physiologic, maybe even a genetic predisposition for people to become not offenders per se, but most of them do become offenders, but have a predilection towards prepubescent children. There is evidence scientifically that may indeed be hardwired.
Interesting.
How dare you? Wait, what? Why am I'm confused on some of these.
Okay, what ones? Hi, oh my God.
Like Zav, let's go do it. What is it? Let's do what, Jackie? Oh, doggy! Look at it.
Oh, there's
Nella.
Oh.
Nella.
Wait, what's his or her name? Who is that?
Mella.
Me? Mella.
Okay.
And then Francesca has her dog.
Mocha. Yeah, she's asleep.
Mocha. Okay.
Cute. What kind? It's a cute dog.
Hello. Can you say hello? No. She's an English Springer. Oops, sorry. She's an English Springer Spaniel. Oopsie.
She's cute. How old is she?
She's gonna be 2, I think.
Yeah, she's about to be 2 in what, May or something?
May.
I mean, she's a year and a half.
You want to answer that? What do you think about that?
What's that?
Good question.
What's that?
Can you?
Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't see. So do you think? No.
Probably not. I mean,
No.
You can't care anyone else's, like, whoever you're attracted to. You can't, unfortunately, or I guess depending on where you sit, you can't change that, I feel like. So unfortunately,
you could probably teach like certain techniques and certain therapy or certain things
yes,
to do to help, like
behavior therapy for those individuals. I don't even know if I'm allowed to use the word that Crocheting Bammy put, pedos will say, that you can teach to sort of mitigate or block some of the impulses, right? Mm-hmm. But that can only be helpful if the person hasn't offended yet, frankly. And once they've offended, that becomes very difficult to do any behavioral changes. And the problem with our system right now is that in terms of the legal system, if somebody comes out, so to speak, as having that predilection towards minor children, they are often reported to the authorities, or they are ostracized from their community. And so that wouldn't, and often doesn't allow people with that predilection to get therapy, right? We also do know that even people who receive hormones to block their drive doesn't really work that well. It's very, very difficult and sad, I'm sure, to have to live with those desires and those attractions when they, really is not something that is legal, nor is it developmentally appropriate, because anything to do with intimacy really has to be consensual.
Bye, Heavenly Clouds. Thanks for coming.
I saw something. It was so long. I honestly couldn't even remember. I think it was Patty who was talking about. Oh, sorry. I couldn't keep my train of thought.
Is it the full moon comment or no?
No.
Okay.
Right, Mamma Mia. That's exactly what I'm saying. I don't know what a doko is. What does that mean? I saw a
documentary.
Sorry. On yes. Yes.
Oh, I don't.
That's exactly what I was saying. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It is very difficult. It's very dicey. What, did you see something, Francesca?
There we go. Is it this one maybe? Because that.
Oh yeah, I went to. Yeah, that's just the one. We can do proactively. That's a really good question.
Thanks. Just want to move to what we can do proactively. Like how to let kids have freedom, but some safeguards like going to concerts. I mean, I'm assuming Patty's talking about our original conversation.
Yeah.
Well, because there is a whole movement in this country. I don't know if you're familiar, but that there is a movement where pedos want to lower the age of consent. And that is a very slippery slope. But I
think that'll happen.
I
hope not.
I hope not, because it really is. It's just developmentally not appropriate when you have little children. They don't understand. And even when you have, like with this Anthony _shots, apparently based on the affidavit that he was reaching out, well, as young as 3 years old, but he was reaching out to mostly girls that were 12 and 13 and 14. At that age, one's sexuality is not even, it's in the formative, if not really preformative stages, and let alone dealing with consent. So I think it would be horrific if laws were changed to decrease the age of consent. No, I don't think that would be a good thing. And I'm speaking from a psychiatric and a medical perspective. What do you think? I know Patty wasn't saying that. She's talking about how do we get a balance just in life as parents, not about that. So.
No, I think it's a horrible idea too, because then, even if they lower it a little bit, which is still bad, then they're going to try to lower it more and more. And it's just going to.
It's a slippery slope. Yeah, it is a slippery slope.
And as far as that, I mean, you can't just not let your kids go, because then they are just going to rebel and they're going to do things it could end up being a little bit worse off if they're lying, I guess. But I don't know. I mean, what would be the answer to that? I mean, I guess make sure, I guess you go with an adult, right? Like for concerts, I mean, always make sure you go with somebody that would know better, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think what Patty's saying is, I think, like, Francesca, you had your first concert maybe at 13, but it was chaperoned, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, Angelica's mom was there. And then the next time I went with my older cousin. And then I went with and then I was the older one and I took my sister. So, I mean, and then at that point I was, I was to look out for her, which was fairly simple. And here in the chat, she says, groups are always a good option. Thank you, Darcy, for your commentary.
Where did you say that?
It'll pop up. She said groups are always, I think that's true. Like, you have power in numbers. I mean, if you're alone, it's a little, their groups are always a good option.
Well, thanks for the super chat again, Dorsey.
I think that's, but I think that's true. Like, just having more people. I mean, that's the same thing, you know, when I go out with friends, it's always a group of people. Or, you know, I think, again, Dorsey and I only went alone together. But, like, you were also, like, you know, you were in the same town. Like, if we needed help for whatever reason, you were nearby, and, you know, we were together. So, again, I think it's just take care of your friends, take care of your siblings, you know, look out for them. You know,
yeah, I'm just reading Evil Abe's Highway to Hell. I'm not sure what he means by this. It would seem that as far as biology goes, women may actually outnumber men as far as pedophilia. What? Women's drive increases with age. What does that have to do with doesn't mean that women's drive increasing with age is targeted towards minor children. I mean, that seems rather nonsensical.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what he or she would, or they would mean by that.
Yeah, just because it's increased doesn't mean, like you said, it doesn't mean that they're going to go for a younger, somebody underage. So yeah, that one thing doesn't have anything to do with the other. I feel like I don't know.
Some well-indicated says, "Merry Christmas, Dr. Amy and Francesca. Well-spoken, intelligent." Thank you.
So she sent me an email for this. She said the statistics. Let me
Oh,
see
good.
here. Yeah, actually, I could share my screen. And
Yes,
see if I can
Polly,
see
the
that.
primate. I agree with you.
Oh, yes, I'm glad you popped up. All right, let me look at this document here. I'm gonna share my screen real quick and see what we got here. Statistics. All right, so this is what she shared.
Hi, Nicole.
All right.
I have to get my glasses on because I can't see it. Oh, this is good. Who sent this to you? May I ask?
Journey, yeah. Journey of Justice, the one that was giving us those statistics. Yeah. They said they got it from here. So
okay, maybe you could put. Are you able to put that link? Not now, but like on your thing, so I can link up to it later.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we could do that.
Looks very interesting. Yeah, this looks really compelling.
Okay, yeah, we'll put it. I'll put it up, and you can look through it later. Because yeah, there's a lot, and it's probably hard to read right there. Let's see. Talk about what the doc knows. I prefer to let the doc talk about, or is she a doc? As she is a doc. But about what? Is anything specific that you want?
What do you know, Ma?
Well, I mean,
share with us what
you know. What the doc knows, as she is a doc. Yes, I am. Family practice and do a lot of psychiatry.
I remember I used to call when you used to go into psychiatry work at the hospital you worked at. I used to always say you were going to like the green floor because everything, like all the trimmings and like the decor was like green.
I know.
It actually really wasn't probably that green. I just thought it was.
It was
like,
that sort of gray green.
Hospital-y, but it was like green, and the rest of the hospital wasn't green, so it was the green floor.
Yep.
Sunshine. What does that say? When or who get into a sentence? You understand that most women and girls in your life, or at the very least, been subject to predatory behavior by men.
I think, yeah. I mean, I think I think just being put in. I think everyone's put in uncomfortable situations. I feel like. I mean, I'm sure everyone's been in some sort of. I think probably part of the reason we haven't heard a lot from men is because men don't really talk about. Like, that's not something. I've at least from my guy friends have never heard of a time that like a woman, let's say at a bar, has made them uncomfortable, and because usually they just can walk away or whatever. But I mean,
yeah, that is true. Oh, sorry. I agree with this Evil Abe's Highway to Hell. That is true. Cheering boys on that get essayed by a teacher, a female teacher, but gasp at older men. Yes,
But who cheers them on? I'm a little bit confused about that. What is?
I
Oh.
think maybe cultural. I think that's more of like a cultural thing, like, oh, hooking up with the old. But I think that's also kind of like it can be with women. It's just presented in a different way. Like I remember back, there's a show that maybe some people here know. Maybe their kids used to watch it called Pretty Little Liars. Used to be obsessed with the show. Granted, again, I was like 11, but all of my friends were too. But there was one girl, the little group of girls, and all their little secrets and everything. And there was one of them who had a relationship with a teacher at her high school. And granted, like, these girls are obviously like the actresses are like my age or older. Like they're very much adults, and very much don't look like anyone I saw in high school. But having a relationship with an older man, it didn't even matter if he's right out of college because he's still an adult, and she's like 16 in this show. And granted, I still loved the show and was rooting for them the whole way, which in real life is really bad. But
wow, they were making it okay. You're saying
they were normalizing it.
It was.
I didn't know that.
It didn't really occur to me. Like I knew, like, you're not supposed to be teachers inappropriate, but like in the context of that show, we were all like, what was the girl's name? Like in the show, Arya and Mr. something, and we were like, go them, or whatever. But I think it goes back to like just boys being praised for sexual conquest. So whether it is unfortunate under maybe SA, then that's but in general, even if it's obviously not like that, is women are more expected to be not that. We're not praised for any sexual anything, and men tend to be, and culturally we tend to praise them more for that. And I think that's probably where it stems from. And that's not to say it's right. I don't think people do in the bedroom, assuming everyone's consenting and of legal age, is really no one's business what people are doing, as long as those two parameters are the case. But I think that's definitely contributed to this notion that men are supposed to, that it's seen as something good, maybe, But again, I think it seems something that may seem good in theory, but in reality is not exactly, is the opposite of that. But
Okay, so there are two things. Well, this is a very fascinating chat tonight. I mean, like I agree with everybody pretty much is saying everything, even some of the things that are a little bit edgy that are being said. But there were two things. Hold on. I'm sorry. Dang it. Well, one thing I did see is, Polly the Primate said that show was a cute show. I guess that one that you liked.
Show, and I did love it when I was like 11 and 12. I was,
I can't believe you were seeing that. I didn't even know.
That's crazy.
Well,
Yeah.
all of my friends' parents like either knew we watched it but didn't know the exact contents of the show. I mean, granted, it's not like I knew. Like I still knew. Like your teacher shouldn't be hitting on you. Like we knew it was a bad thing, but like.
But the show normalized it, and also since the girls were wanting to make the conquest with the male teacher, then you guys all got behind.
He wanted her too. But I think I remember, I just came to me this like way back memory. The way that it happened that they met is that for some reason, I think she ended up at like a bar or something. Granted, she's 16. And like they made out in like the bathroom. I don't know. It was something along those lines, I think. I could also be very wrong in mixing up 1,000 different shows, but
somebody says here, Brendan Schmeld says at Francesca, it must have been reruns.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. Well, my friends and I would get on the TV for ABC Family, because it used to be ABC Family, or maybe ABC Family, something like that. Yeah, ABC Family, and we'd get on to watch the new seasons. So unfortunately, I did see the real thing, which I don't know how old or young that makes me, but one of the two.
So I found the thing that I wanted. You guys keep talking now. I'm going to find what I found. Oh, darn. Oh, Journey of Justice says Darkness to Light is a nonprofit. This is at 10:34 p.m. They say Darkness to Light is a nonprofit empowering adults to prevent child SA.
Oh.
Their vision, I've never heard of this organization. Their vision is I'm a very slow reader. Their vision is of a world free from child SA where children can grow up happy, healthy, and safely. Oh, and the thing with Sting, that was that I didn't
The
really
song, yeah.
Sting was don't you know Sting, the singer?
Oh, that's
The police.
I thought someone else was talking about.
I'm gonna use the restroom real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay,
guys.
I was a little confused about
because Sting is
I see it. Oh, and someone my sister said Gossip Girl used a teacher student idea. Yeah, Gossip Girl did too. Also really love Gossip Girl, but that's besides.
But apparently Sting wrote a song. That's what I was trying to figure out where this person said this. He wrote a song about inappropriate behavior or something. I wish the person would say it again, write it again, because I've got it. I can't find it.
I don't know. Yes, I am very young.
Where is this? The person who wrote about Sting and the song that he wrote. Could
so
you
far
read
back. That was so.
It was far back. Okay.
Yeah, but it says he was hit on by younger girls. Blah blah. Blah. I don't know what you're saying. Experiences and measures. Yes. Don't stand so close to me. That's what it was called.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm going to listen to that.
Write that down. And someone, I can't remember who in the chat said something about
I'm interrupting you. BC Barnett says something I think that is really, really true, that power, control, and cowardice fuel predatory behavior, not libido. I think there is a very, very good point. And they also say that and I won't say the word, there is a component of that is about power and control and not about libido.
I definitely. I mean, I think it's a trope that obviously, I mean, at least in television, everything, a trope that's been okay. And I honestly, like, for a show and a plot line with people, did I think it was super disturbing, or was it probably the most appropriate thing we were watching? Maybe not, but was it?
What was the age group that it was supposed to be for?
I mean, all my friends were watching it too.
But technically.
I don't know, 14 plus, but we were not 14. But I don't think, I just think it's more like, I think as long as your kid knows that that's definitely a bad thing, I don't think there's anything wrong with necessarily seeing that, as long as, you're like, I guess as parents saying, but
normalizing it, I don't think is such a good thing.
Well, I think they did know it was a bad thing. They probably could have made it a bigger point to be like, that's illegal. I think they did even touch on that. Now that I think
so but Brendan, thank you, Brendan Schmeld. What Brendan Schmeld was saying is his point was and is that you were very young to be watching that show, and I agree.
Probably, yeah. I agree, and I watched it.
I don't know what age group it was. Did you ever hear of Pretty Little Liars?
I've heard of it, but I've never watched it. I don't know. Is it like an older? It's about high school that you're saying,
right?
High schoolers. It took place. Wow, it's not even the first thing that comes up on Google anymore. That's so sad.
Yes,
They should have used that as a lesson instead of promoting it. It should have been a lesson for.
Let me tell you, most of the storyline between them was this girl and this teacher.
That's
friend.
engaging.
That was her love interest. Like they all had love interests, or sometimes a few, but all the love interests of the other girls were of their own age, friends or people their own age. But it was started in 2010.
Okay.
So you were 11.
11. So
wow.
I think I'm going to look it up later to see what is the supposed. You know how you have PG-13 and things like that. What was it rated?
Yeah,
that's
freaking knows.
How do they do that with shows? Do they rate them like that?
Well, on TV, it's like TV 14, TV then I
Book
guess
is a
they're
book.
supposed to be 14 or something. Not that
And it probably was
Okay.
at least TV
it
14.
probably was TV 14, but it's okay.
I appreciate Polly the Primate, Hello Baby, Ange Texas Sun have all given me the name of the song that Sting wrote called Don't Stand So Close to Me. And somebody earlier, Zav, said that was when Sting was a teacher for 2 years, that he was being hit upon by his female students.
Well,
I knew that it was what it was about, but I didn't know it was like he was a teacher. I just thought he was talking about a situation. Wow. So it was like a personal story. Okay. Huh. I'm gonna have to listen to those words again.
I am too.
Mostly teens watched it. Yeah, you would think, because if it's about high school, mostly
Yeah.
teens watch it.
Yes. So I wasn't so strict parent.
Well, I did meet like
I'll tell you where you got introduced to that was certainly not in our home.
no, it's at my friend's house.
It was at
Yeah, but and I met actually the friend who introduced me to met I think
Thank you, Polly.
all 3 of the girls of the 4 main girls. She met 3 of them, and I met 2 of them.
I remember they took you to the city. I was so close.
Oh, wow.
But I got to go with my friends, and it was a lot of fun. But anyway.
Wait, what city?
Oh,
New York
Polly the
City.
Primate says, I'm
New
sorry,
York.
I watched Pretty Little Liars, and Polly the Primate says she is currently in her 30s. Thank you, Polly the Primate. So that means that you were probably, what, 20 when you were watching this or something?
Look,
Maybe
I'm sure
18?
it was meant for an older demographic.
Yes, it
However,
was.
I was there.
I knew I was right.
And like, yes, you were. And but most of the girls I remember at this, like, because we went, there was
I remember you went.
a huge crowd of girls. They were mostly my age. Like, they were mostly around, like, they were not that much older than us. So there was definitely like a lot of younger people watching that.
And you see what Trace on the Case says?
She wanted to serve me. Oh, just the title. Very sure all kids are watching it. Yeah.
Look what Polly the Primate. I'm just reading. I'm very interested in all these things that the chat is saying. Polly the Primate, it's going so fast. She says she was in her 30s watching it.
Oh, but she's in her 40s.
No, I don't know if she's in her 40s.
No, she said, I think she just commented, I was in my 30s watching it, but 40s. Yeah, so that, again, probably definitely
inappropriate.
Not for an 11-year-old.
But when you went to the city, though, you said that it was just all
literally kids my age. Like, we were not the youngest there, and we were definitely
like
not
11, 12, 13, 14.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, there's like a meet and greet or something, or what? What do you mean?
Yeah, the actresses, they did like, I remember like 17 magazine did like the first one I went to meet Shay Mitchell, who's one of the girls. Who I just wanted to be so badly. Like, I just loved her. There was like she was putting out like helping out. What?
Who was it that you want? I'm sorry.
Mitchell?
I don't know
She's one of the actresses. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Anyway, she had like a meet and greet at like a Barnes and Nobles in the city, and it was like she was helping promote this book by like, I think it was 17 magazine was doing this like beauty book she was helping with or something, and I had zero money, so I didn't buy the book, but I just like, and I still have the magazine, I think somewhere where she signed. But mind you, I went wearing like a New York Giants jersey. Like, that's how I showed up. Like, I didn't like, clearly I was very much like 11. Like, that was I went like these little like jean shorts. I feel like they were like I don't know what they were, like these shorts and this New York Giants like Eli Manning jersey. Funny when I think back on it. I still have the photos somewhere.
Do you see what this money says? My friend told me about a cartoon she watches. Come on.
Oh, yeah. I see. Yeah, okay. I know what show they're talking about.
Oh, really? I don't really? Really?
I think so. I think if we're thinking of the same show, it's called Big Mouth. Now, a lot of people really like Big Mouth. People, my good friend,
my other daughter
loves the show and watches all of it. I personally don't like it because I really don't like, I don't know, like, it to me just kind of reminds me of like 11-year-old bathroom humor, and I don't really like it's not my cup of tea per se.
Now look at Linda. Oh, I'm sorry, Linda Petrovich, whom I adore, even though I've never met her, but it seems like I enjoy what she has to say very often in chats. Says that JonBenet Ramsey, do you remember that 4-year-old?
Yeah.
Who was murdered, was targeted, and look what happened to her. Well, I think her mother, in my opinion, that whole scene of, objectify the tiara thing and whatever those things are called, where you go to a show, when people, beauty pageants.
Beauty pageants.
Yeah,
but beauty pageants for like
4 or
little
5.
kids is weird. Yeah,
it's
they
really
for babies too, which I think is just kind of bizarre.
Oh, they
really sexualizes little girls at a very young age. It's just my opinion.
Yeah. Like if you're older, sure. Like that's your decision. But I think when you're like 3, you can't really make
I'm talking about 3, 4, 5. I'm saying
Well, I'm saying as a 3-year-old in that situation, like you can't really decide.
And I agree with Hello Baby. It's just my opinion. I do.
You do? Okay.
I do. I really
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I mean, I think it was definitely in the family, but I don't know.
And the mother, I think, hit it.
Yeah, I think the mother definitely knew. She wrote,
she wrote the letter, and I don't know, Francesca, you probably don't know the story, but you'll watch it.
Oh, I've seen the case. I've watched a lot of true crime.
Okay.
I can tell you.
Wait, there's a night. Really? I have to hear that.
Oh yes,
Wait,
maybe you can find that now. Can you find it?
She really said that?
I did hear something about that, but I've never heard the actual 911. Is there a way to pull that up or no?
I don't know.
I agree with California Thunder's
write that down.
magazine is and was so inappropriate. Yep.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we weren't allowed to read 17 magazine.
No,
but we read it in the checkout line.
I'm going to write this down. I'll try to look for it now, but if I can't find it now, I'm going to look for it.
Yep. The Bratz dolls.
You didn't let us play with Bratz dolls either. Granted, I didn't even like dolls, so it wasn't.
You didn't like dolls anyway.
I didn't like dolls, but I don't think we would have been allowed to. But I like stuffed animals. It wasn't really my thing.
Look what Ashley Leaf at 1049 says. Can you read that, Francesca?
Yeah, so when my son was younger, he was offered a baby modeling deal. Yeah, no, I feel like, I don't know, it's just a little, like, obviously they need, like, I don't know. I don't even think they need, like, remember this Macy's, like, adverts where they have all the, like, the kids, like, in the kids' clothing or whatever. I don't know. I just think it's a little weird. Like, why do you need
child models?
Like, you could just, like, there's ways you could just lay out the clothes and see things. I don't know. Oh, and apparently Dorsey chimed in, or my sister, and said she wanted a Bratz doll.
No.
She did not get a Bratz doll.
No, absolutely not. Camila, if you want a Bratz doll, feel free now to use your own money.
That reminds me of that case that Cleo Smith, that guy that took her from, it was in Australia. He collected the Bratz dolls. Remember that?
Oh, you're right. You're absolutely right. That was something that we were going to talk about at some point. That whole thing, but
17 magazine made me feel so bad about myself. What's wrong with me? Not me. Sorry.
Okay.
No, she's reading from Polyprimate, right?
Probably. Who knows? I mean, also all that stuff looking back is just so hilariously cringy. I think, like.
But too bad. I'm sorry it made you feel bad about yourself.
But that's what I'm saying. When you're young, you think, "Oh my God, something's wrong with me," when really nothing's wrong with you anyway. Nothing's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Bratz are really weird. Like Barbies were probably fine, but Bratz.
Yeah, well, I think Barbies were sort of anorectic looking.
Well, have you seen what they said Barbie would look like if she was like a real person? Like she wouldn't even be able to stand up by herself.
Yeah, that's
so disproportionate. Like her head would be on the ground. Like she literally would walk on all fours because it's so anatomically incorrect.
Oh, Dorsey Camila, I don't know if you're still on here, but it's Brendan Shamel says at Dorsey, the guy who took Chloe Smith from the campsite in Western Australia loved Bratz dolls.
I guess she doesn't want Bratz dolls anymore.
Yeah, no thank you, Brendan. No Bratz dolls for Dorsey Camila.
Please.
Oh, yeah, wait a minute. Oh, it's Burke. I was thinking his name was Grant. So Grant's the husband then, right?
Oh. It is?
I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah,
I'm not. That's case I'm not like as familiar
so
with as
people
some,
think
but
that it was the husband?
but
Yes,
wait,
that's
who's
why I was
Grant?
confused. Why you were thinking? I think I was like, who's? No, it was her.
I thought it was
It
the
was
brother. Can you do a poll like 1, 2
Yeah,
out
yeah.
loud?
But wait, who is Grant? Is Grant is his name Grant then? The dad?
husband, I think. Yeah,
It
her
is
father.
Grant? Okay,
I think it was him.
I know.
Wait,
I
but
always thought it was him
Lady
or
says,
the
I will
mom.
always
But
call Burke Grant Grunt.
who
Maybe I have
said
to look this
that?
up.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure this out. But yeah, we could do a poll. So how do you want to do it though?
Well,
Like,
the husband is John. They're
Oh,
right.
nobody's Grant.
So
you
wait,
should-
who's Grant?
Grant. Okay,
Why is
whatever. The father. Okay, so she said that was the name she just had in her head. Okay, so yeah, the father. I think whoever the father of JonBenet,
John Ramsey. You think he did it?
and no one can convince me otherwise. I'm so sorry, but that is something I will. That's a hill I'm willing to die on.
All right, so
So
okay.
So how do we do it? So one would be, what do you want to ask? Like if it's the brother or the dad? Or
Yes.
or the
Put a 1 if it's a blah blah blah. Put a 2 if it's a blah blah blah.
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, do a 1 if you think it's the brother, a 2
For the
if
John Ramsey case, yeah.
yeah, or JonBenet Ramsey, yeah. So do a 1 if you think it's the brother, a 2 if you think it's the dad, and do a 3 if you think it's the mom. That well, I mean, the mom that actually killed her, because some people think the mom. Remember she was wet in the bed or whatever, and then she got real mad and like accidentally did something to kill her, and then like it was an accident. Some people believe that theory, but no, I think maybe.
So what was 1 again? The brother.
So 1 is the brother, 2 is the dad, and 3 is the mom.
And of course, Trace on the case said DNA ruled out family members.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, but it wasn't there stuff.
Weirder things have happened in cases, so I don't know. I think the father had something. I don't know what it is, but that dad, he had something to do.
Okay. 2 is the father. I kind of think Patsy did it. Interesting.
And accidentally hit her with a bat. Yeah, very heavy on the accidentally part.
Hey, weird mom. Nice to see you. Haven't seen you in a few lives. What's 0 mean, Linda? No, neither of them. Okay.
Neither. Yeah.
He's with the bed and the father fierce and says like.
Interesting. Yeah.
Oh, somebody thinks it was a school teacher. Kathleen does. Huh.
Wait, but was the little girl in school?
I don't know. How old was she? I don't even know, actually. 4. What's 4 mean?
4, they wouldn't even be, they had pre-K. Interesting. Somebody just pointed out that family member touch DNA would be everywhere in the house, so you can't really rule them out.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Who was that? Miss Polly the primate.
Thank you, Polly. Because think about it, in your own house, how much of your own DNA is all over your house because it's your house?
And I heard like that the DNA they found that she was possibly wearing like a new pair. She had like bags of like underwear like that she just took right out of the package. That it could be somebody that like packaged the underwear or whatever. Somebody said that there was like a package like it looked like she just grabbed a pair of underwear out. And then, so what if that, well, then they would have had, oh no, if she touched it and then she touched something else, would that be possible?
Yeah.
Somebody was telling me that, like if she touched it and then.
Touched DNA. Yeah.
Okay. So who knows? There could be other ways that there was other DNA in there, if that's what you guys are saying. There's no, I mean, think about that note that, the ransom note or whatever. It was ridiculous. Like that, there's no way that wasn't her writing it. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't there 2 versions? And then the pen that they used was put back in the spot. Like a stranger wouldn't like put the pen exactly. I think it was back in the drawer or whatever. I mean, who would do that? I don't know. It's just weird things.
Yeah.
I think she definitely covered it up, or she was the one that did it.
So then Brendan, I'm sorry. Yeah. No, I'm just looking at Brendan Schmeld. Says that the DNA says different on JonBenet and the family ruled out. But then again, I don't know what kind of DNA it was. I mean, I've got to go back over that case, I think.
Why was that?
And
Was there
Soul
even
for
DNA?
Music. Oh, sorry.
Go
Soul
ahead.
for Music 79 says that case throws me big time, so I'm a 4, as in no idea.
Okay.
Maybe we should have put 4 for those who have a completely separate thing. They could be hiding on the basement all day. Yeah.
But then somebody here says that there was semen. I don't know. Yeah.
Wait
And
a
that's
minute. Is that true though?
I
Because
don't
then
know. I'd have to look back at the case. Oh, she was 6, not 4. Thank you, Sherry Shirley.
so when do you start school? I don't even know. When
5 is kindergarten.
Oh, so
Jen.
she okay.
Trace on the case said that there was.
What, she went to like preschool? Did she go to a preschool?
No, I think she was 6 years old, honey. That's what she
Oh, okay.
saying.
Oh, I didn't remember how old she was.
Okay,
When
Nicole.
did this case happen? When did JonBenet happen?
What, in late 90s, right? Or I don't know.
I think, but I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Let's see. Any other?
Hold on, I'm gonna let the dog out for a second. So
Okay.
I'll be right back. Nice down, please.
Well, Brendan, are you saying that? So the DNA was on her. You're saying, right? Like, are you talking about on her underwear? DNA in underwear was different from all. I don't know. I might have to go back through the case, but just from like what my one friend that's really into it was telling me stuff, but I don't know. I don't remember ever hearing that there was semen though. Because wouldn't that be easy to? Well, no, I guess not.
Yeah, I don't know. I got to look back at that case, but Crocheting Bammy at 1058 says, asking me what my theory is on Summer Wells. Well, my theory, actually, interestingly, and of course, my other daughter's here, just said, "Oh God," I think this, and I believe this for various reasons from the beginning. And it's just a theory, as you say, right? But I think she was a victim of familial trafficking, i.e., it was not a stranger abduction, but that she may have been, quote, rented out by her parents, maybe mom, maybe dad, I don't know, to cancel a debt, a drug debt or something. Now, maybe she was rented many times, and this particular time, the person didn't bring her back, and I think the shed was the drop-off location.
Okay.
So that is kind of what I have come to theorize. In 1994, by the way, was the JonBenet thing. I'm curious, Miss Bammy, Mammy, what was her name again? I know it had Bammy in it for like Alabama, I think, who asked me that question just now. What was my theory? I'm curious what your theory is.
Crochet and Bammy, yeah.
Yeah, Crochet and Bammy. What her or anybody else's theory on the Summer Wells case?
Oh, Gailey said that's exactly my theory.
Really? Gailey Gale Gailster. Interesting. And Gailey Gale Gailey, that's a hard one. Gailey Gale Gailster. When did you begin to think about that theory for Summer Wells?
Thailand One Love says, I've been thinking the same thing all along, Dr. Lupino.
Interesting. I think initially I had actually brought it up on another Creator Live quite a number of months ago, and I was kind of poo-pooed. And, oh no, that trafficking never happens in that demographic of a 5-year-old or whatever. But I don't believe that particular creator was particularly familiar with familial trafficking. And it's very, very prevalent, especially in northeastern Tennessee.
Oh, taser marks. JonBenet had taser marks on her.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Evil Abe, I actually have worked for 30 years as a physician with many communities, and I will tell you that it isn't just in third world countries like Mexico. I can tell you that it does happen in the United States.
Yeah. I mean, there's been people that they've cut. Yeah. So it may. Are you from the United States? I'm just curious.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. It definitely happens in the United States. So I'm not sure.
And actually, in human trafficking, are something that I've done. I've put in a lot of research in for different things and for awareness and whatever. But it's funny because human trafficking, honestly, it's first world countries like sex trafficking or sex tourism, as it's called, in third world countries. Most of the clients, people, who go and take part of these horrible things, tend to be first world people, business people. That's
a good point.
The $1 billion industry, if you can, horribly call it that. And it's true. The first, that's sex tourism is a thing. It's a horrible, horrible thing because a lot of times children are minors and are underage, but it does happen. But it does also happen in the US here. I think it's just one of those things we just don't really talk about very often, or that we just, it's not quite like, in a Taken movie where, someone snatches you. It's a little more discreet, I think, that here than it is maybe in other countries where it's more like someone can be kind of kidnapped. I think that's maybe more of the difference, but it definitely happens here. It happens anywhere there's people, there's trafficking.
So there. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Hello Baby said that her mom gave her to her boyfriend, and she says when I was I don't know, a young child probably, and that is terrible.
That's 5 because 5 is the percent button. But anyway.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry that happened. Also, just because something's legal usually doesn't always mean it's right. In the case of trafficking, I think that, especially when it involves children or people who are maybe forced to do such things under duress, or because they are in such extreme poverty, there isn't any way to then feed your family. Let's say that doesn't make let's say that's legal in said countries or said place, because I know it's not legal here in this country, but that doesn't mean it's okay. It doesn't mean it should happen. Doesn't mean it's right. Doesn't mean that anyone should have to be put in that position. So, most laws usually keep things okay, but just because it's legal doesn't mean you should.
Just because it's illegal doesn't mean it doesn't happen anyway. I mean, people break the law all the time everywhere. So, confused by. Oh, that's that one you were reading.
She pays for my life. I retired at 47 with PTSD.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's horrible.
That is.
So, you see what Kathy Gragg says?
It happened to where. See, and that's an example right there. Like that's right here. Something again. I think
Wait a minute. I'm
of sex. I think that was a typo.
Okay, accepted.
Either they accepted sex from a guy's daughter for rent money.
For the rent money, okay. I think guy's daughter.
That's what she meant.
The jail, and it's debt. The dad is now going to pay out.
Gonna sign off. So it's by California Thunder. Oh, something's going on with Wi-Fi. All right. Have a good night. Thanks for coming. Come back next time for sure. JonBenet was strangled. Yeah.
Okay, wait a minute. Somebody just said name one case recently.
Well, I think that's okay. I think there's in the true crime community, in the media, and all this. I think a lot of times, sometimes, cases are, like, why did JonBenet get, still has all this attention? Not to say she wasn't deserved, but like, let's say why she's kind of stuck with us in our memory. Versus there was a voice actor. She was also very young. I think it was a pretty cut and dry case, but she played, because I know she played in The Land Before Time, which was a movie from my childhood that I loved, and she voice acted one of the characters. She was killed by her father, or something along those lines. But like she was around the same age, like same thing. You know, why did, let's say, more? And I think people know, but like, why has still JonBenet, other than maybe she is still, you know, there's still kind of unsolved. You know, I think the media picks and chooses what kind of cases get more light, and I don't really think there's necessarily any rhyme or reason, but there definitely is choosing. So I think just because we in the true crime community, or as in the media, have not been told of a case, doesn't mean it didn't happen. I mean, just because, you know, so I think it's hard to say using that as a thing. I think there are
addressing here.
I'm just talking.
I don't know. Yeah, Evil was saying there was no cases at all. Wait, are you kidding me though? Like
he's saying,
how are you saying
whatever?
That doesn't even make sense.
That
there has been
in one case recently online where the victim was trafficked. I think it's a shame lots of true crimers go to that conclusion, whether about Summer.
Something that we really wish.
I can only speak for myself. I have gone to that conclusion, Evil, Abe. I guess not honest Abe, but Evil Abe. That's history. Whether about Summer, I have gone to that based on her demographic, the subculture in which she has been reared. I'm talking about Summer, the epidemic amount of addiction, both in that area and in her parents' lives. And also because I have worked with that demographic and I've seen children trafficked familially. So for me, it's not, I just go to that conclusion.
And where the conclusion was them rescued from a sex trafficking gang. Again, I think in the US, it works a little differently than it does in maybe other, like, let's say, third world countries, specifically because in the US, and like most places, I would hope, it's very, very illegal to do that. Like, you're not allowed to have, like, essentially, you're not allowed to have slaves in this country. And so, and human trafficking, that is literally the same thing. Well, minor differences.
It's
in the same breath of the same thing. So it's very, very, very illegal in this country. So I think if there's going to be, it's not going to be like some huge, it's going to be more hush-hush. Again, also, in other countries where there is maybe less ability for prosecution, there is, you know, more poverty, there's, you know, there's a lot more other issues, you know, and maybe the focus isn't on that. It is probably a lot easier to just, you know, go somewhere else if someone has the means to, because again, sex tourism is $1 billion industry.
Yeah, I mean, I have,
maybe not in this case, but there are in other cases, just to say.
Yeah. Now, so I have patients in recent years who have been trafficked. They were initially, let's say 18, 20 years old, and had a drug issue. And then they were given drugs by somebody at a bar, say, and then the next thing that they knew, they got even more hooked, and then that person brought them into the trafficking. And I mean, this is real. And this is in the United States.
But I think we all know that trafficking does exist, whether in something, maybe not necessarily, maybe so in somewhere else. I wouldn't have to give any sort of position on that, whether it is or isn't. But in this country and anywhere there are people, there is some sort of trafficking, and it's unfortunate. And I think we all know that that's a very real reality that many people, unfortunately, are victims of.
I think that what Evil Abe makes a good point, that it's confused by many. Most convictions in the United States stem from predation on someone's hard drive.
Well, maybe most
convictions do, but I can tell you, I trained.
I think we know that it definitely happens.
It definitely. I have there was a young physician that was in training, and I was attending.
I think, but yes, I think we know that there's definitely bad things.
Yeah, it definitely happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's just trying to. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm confused. Let's give somebody else like a chance.
Candace or home.
One
One.
last questions. I don't know. My face is so itchy right now for some reason. Oh my god.
Well, Alessia, I'm sorry, Pirecio, I don't, just because CM said that it's very, very rare doesn't mean that he is correct. And I disagree with that.
Sure. And I'll follow that on. And if we're following what Evil Abe said, where it could be also CP, back on that list that we were talking about, that band list, the worst offender probably on that entire thing was a guy in a band which I was not into, didn't know it was a band until this all came out. A part of a band who hit with CP apparently. Well, he's in prison right now for like forever. Where there was apparently some of the worst CP that some of the prosecutors or the people had ever seen, with a child as young as 1. So I think that it does happen. And I think the Duggar case recently, that guy, the Duggar weirdo, one of I read some article where I think it was the prosecution said there was a child as young as 5 on a video of a child being abused and violated. And so I think it doesn't, in some ways, it doesn't really matter whether traffic this or that. But I don't really know too much of how that plays into Summer Wells. But I think that, I mean, it doesn't, just because, it's not like 5 is, there's, unfortunately, if you can think of it, someone's into it. And as horrible as that is, it is a reality. And actually, in that case with that the guy, what was the band? I think it was like Lost Profits or something. His girlfriend gave him her daughter to abuse. This does happen.
This is epidemic. Really.
It's just, Oh, someone said a doctor can use a child as young as 3 months. So yeah, it happens at every age, which is even worse. I mean, it's all worse.
Blackbeard wants to ask a question. I think.
Oh, Ian Watkins. Yeah, that's what the guy's name was.
Type it?
Yeah, you could type it. I'll try to look out for it and see if we see it. Father's brothers. Not nasty. Yeah. Is that? Shiner Catcher Christie. Oh, there you are. Hey, Shiny. The Duggar's case where there was child. Yeah.
Yes, Alicia. That absolutely could be true. I mean, we're talking about so many cases here, but about the Summer Wells, that it was a death cover-up. That I think that as well. I mean, that's another theory that I think is very possible.
Yeah. Why did somebody say it was Alicia? I don't know why I'm getting confused by this chat now. I feel
we're all over this.
I know. I don't think anybody said. I don't know. Yeah, I think we're all aware of that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it depends where. You have to be more specific, kind of.
I think they killed Summer accidentally. Blah blah blah. Someone says if a child is used in CP, that's trafficking. I guess so. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because if it's being distributed, then that's technically, not physically being trafficked, but okay.
Oh, okay. Is that considered it?
So is it traffic is defined as for money repeatedly, correct? So probably, yeah.
So I guess.
Well, not for it. Trafficking is defined as for a good or service. So it could be it doesn't have to be for money. It can be a barter.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to be for direct passage of money one hand from the other. It could be a barter.
Journey of Justice. I can't open that doc real quick. Sorry. She sent me a document. It's saying that I need or what does it say? It won't let me open what you sent me. It says that I need hold on, what does it say?
And yes, I think that there's a very good likelihood that people are paid off at all levels.
Probably.
Of government.
I sent a request, Journey. It said I could request access, so I don't know if are you able to give it to me? And skill lie detector. Oh wait, what's going on?
Estoy fatigada.
Better.
Yeah, we're just, but either way, we just all have different opinions, though. Yeah, I don't know. I personally, with the Summer Wells, I'm leaning more towards if it is the parents involved, I feel like it was an accident, or she was really abducted. That's just my opinion, but everybody has their own opinions. I have no idea what happened. It's tricky.
Yeah, late night mom says, that maybe she fell asleep in a hot car and then they discovered. And it's just, I think there are so many possibilities, and the timeline that was initially given by the family, it has so many holes in it. We don't even know. I always, hi Kimberly, I ask myself, and I've been asking this, when is the last time, for months I've been asking this, when is the last time somebody actually, other than a family member or potentially collusion amongst family friends, when is the actual is the actual time last that somebody outside the family, public person, actually laid eyes on Summer? How do we even know she went to the swimming hole on that day? I mean, how do we know that it wasn't 3 days before that she really went missing? I mean, we don't know. I mean, so far nobody's stepped up to say they actually saw her.
Well, what about Hunter? You think Hunter could be lying about that day?
Well, that's what I wonder. Who knows? You see, I don't know. And I agree, Kristen. It is strange that they put her. Oh, this is going so fast. In the car in hot, in winter/fall clothing.
Yeah, that whole case. Well, I mean, I honestly haven't followed any of it really, except for what you told me.
It's crazy. I can't believe I haven't found her yet, or found. I don't know.
Her brain thinks the hot car.
I mean, like, having a parent, I didn't think it was that hard to remember your kid was in a car, but like apparently they've installed like monitors, and for whatever reason, I don't remember where it came from, but it was like, it wasn't in my car. It was in it was in one of the rental cars like 2 years ago that I used. That was like, don't forget to check your back seats. So I was like, why would I be looking if no one's?
Yes, but there is now. They say, there's one car that says something like, make sure you don't have a child in the back seat or something.
I'm like, how do you forget your kid is in the back of your? I mean, like, no offense to anyone who's forgotten this, but I feel like I've never gotten out of my.
That would be a horrible thing.
I mean, usually I'm in the car. It's only Mocha or my dog in the car. I don't think I've ever left the car not remembering that she was in the car with me.
That is crazy to think that they.
But
wow.
I mean, hell, maybe they should put more of that in the cars so we don't do that.
Evil Abe, this is for you. It says 57,700 people were trafficked into the country every year. So that's United States, according to the definition from the Department of Homeland Security, human traffickers use force fraud. So I don't know. We could put this link in the chat, Evil Abe, if you want to check it out. I'm probably not going to read through the whole thing right now, but just to show you that it probably does. Somebody does happen. I don't know why I said probably. What, Amy?
No, somebody just asked, couldn't they have put meta-analysis on that video of Summer at the swimming hole to see when it was indeed taken? Yes, they could. I just don't know if they have. I mean, after what I saw with the Brian Laundrie case and the sort of Keystone Cop behavior, I don't know what different police departments actually do and how tech savvy they are, and if they're put that much interest, I don't know. But I agree with you. Probably it would have a timestamp.
I don't know.
Brianna Cece says, wouldn't a cover up, like this cover up of what's happening. Maybe this is be more stressful than just coming clean about an accident. Yeah, I think you're right. But I don't know. It is such a wicked web of.
I still think there's a chance that she was just abducted too, but
Somebody earlier said maybe there was that 2-hour time period that can't be. The timeline has a gap in, and that maybe Candace did fall asleep, and that Summer wandered off down to that road, and that maybe like a.
Because I think she was lying about it being, I was only gone for 2 minutes. I think that was why. I think she left
2 hours
for a long time. Yeah, I believe that.
So maybe the little girl went down to the un momento, and can you help there? Thank you. I'm sorry. Somebody just asked me a question within my home, but maybe an offender, an S offender, picked her up when she walked off. I mean, yeah, that could be as well. That would be an abduction, but not on their property. I don't see it as a stranger abduction on their property. Would be very, very unlikely.
Well, they say most essays or anyone is usually someone like an acquaintance or someone you know. Like it's really rare for something to happen for like a completely random person you have no connection.
Well, unless if you live in a large town or city and the child is on the front lawn, that's
yeah. But I mean, so many people have cameras outside nowadays. I feel like it'd be hard for like literally no one to see anything. You know what I mean? Unless you live like in the sticks. I mean, we kind of lived in the sticks.
I guess Teresa, in the case, I don't know if she's or he is talking about the fact that the cars nowadays have the little, little alert saying, "Do you have anybody in the back car of your seat?" And what they've said is, "You've never been a rushed, distracted parent." I have been rushed, distracted. And thank God I haven't forgotten my kids in the back of the car. But yes, I do believe it can happen.
Yeah,
absolutely. And it often happens if you kind of watch when it does happen, is when the father maybe who normally doesn't, or the parent who normally doesn't take the child to daycare, and they're asked to do a favor.
It's not in their routine.
It's not in their routine, so then they end up going to work, and they've I mean, I do believe that can
that could happen.
Absolutely. And it would be just devastating. I feel
like in the summer, like if you're in the summer, like I mean, again, I'm not a parent, so I don't really know. But I mean, like with our dogs, like at a certain point, like I feel like once it hits a certain like temperature, like you always should check just like even if you look like, it wouldn't kill. But yeah, I get if your routine is if you've done something 100 times, the next thing someone throws something else at you. I could see that.
And Soul for Music says, and if the baby falls asleep. No,
but I also never stopped crying as a baby. So you could never forget me if you wanted to.
I mean, I agree with you, Soul for Music. It is absolutely something that does happen and can happen. I think
someone also is journeying for even rush people remember their cell phone. So how could you forget a human being? That is also okay. So there's a counterpoint, which I agree with because I mean, yeah.
And somebody Soul for Music says, I wouldn't forget mine because one pukes in the car and the other just the whole time. Oh, well, we had one puke.
Yeah, we had that too. So it's Mella currently.
And now it's our puppy. Yeah.
Mama Mia said my mom left me in the shopping center as a baby in a trolley or a shopping cart. Claims it was an accident.
Oh dear. No, but I do believe these things can happen.
Someone said breathing a sigh of relief that her mom's never left her in the car. No, you would know that I was in the car when I was a kid. I also never stopped moving or making sounds. So
yeah,
you couldn't forget me if she wanted to.
Now wait, somebody said something about door. I'm so
these chats are
they go pretty fast.
Yeah, they do. I mean, I got good eyes, but still.
I know you're fast reader on that.
Yeah, but sometimes they move so fast.
gosh, yeah. My mom was a single mom. Oh my goodness.
And God bless her.
And never left us in the car. Well,
Well,
there's something about that somebody said about the Summer Wells parents. I'm just like,
someone said they heard a dog collar. Yeah, there was a dog. There's a dog in that.
there's a dog that wants to go out, and I would, but Zav is not here. So how could I, Oh, Nicole said that the "I'm done" message that he read on Candace's phone could just be a lie by H. So it could be. Ashley Leith says, yeah, I still don't.
So sorry. Someone, I don't know if you're going to answer this question, but someone said, hey, doc, you ever had a patient where you're like, nah, you're too messed up for me to help you? Has that ever happened? Where you're like, oh, this is a lot even for me.
No, I mean, but what does happen is, since I do family medicine and I work in a clinic setting, for the uninsured and underinsured, it's very hard for us to find specialists. And we receive a lot of patients that come in who are sometimes on 13, 15, 20 plus medications, some of which are like heart antiarrhythmic medicines and, cardiac problems, which are beyond the scope of what I'm trained to do and would do. Mm-hmm. And what I do tell a patient is we're going to do our darndest to find a specialist. We have our ways of doing that, but it would be irresponsible of me as a primary care physician with your boatload of medical problems
to be like,
to take care of you. So yes, I do, unfortunately, quite often manage patients that are very complex and that I think you're talking more psychiatrically. I probably have met more people in my private, non-professional life that are more, emotionally troubled, psychiatrically disturbed than I have in my practice, frankly. So
someone asked, have you ever been afraid of a patient?
Oh,
I don't know.
That's a really good question. I have a policy in my office where I work now that I've trained all of my medical assistants, as well as that if a patient is, has a known problem like paranoid schizophrenia, or if they're paranoid, that we do leave the door open and we just close a curtain, and that we should never go in a room and be
unaccompanied. I do know that.
Well, unaccompanied for certain procedures, but also if I always say, do not end up in the corner where a patient is in front of you who could block the door and block your exit. Yeah. And it has happened when I did a year of inpatient psychiatry in a state mental institution, and I have my startle response partially and a lot still, because when I was at this little desk, and it was almost like a hallway between two doors. I don't know. That's where they put me to do my work. And I was typing. A very tall, large, very dangerous schizophrenic male came behind me and choked me. And that was not.
Well, that's scary. Yeah, so, I would definitely say that would be a reason to be a little scared.
So evil-eyed. Yes, I am a doctor. Thank you.
Let's see. Someone else.
Do I have any credentials? Oh, yes, I do. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Someone said, yes, don't keep your Don't leave your kids or your dogs in the car when it gets too hot. That's bad.
Thank you, Mamma Mia.
Remember when I did that project in like some grade, I don't remember, where we compared how hot it would take to get a car, like when it was like 2 minutes.
Oh, I know. To
Over
get to like
100
120 degrees, something like that.
Fahrenheit. I don't know if we have
Yeah.
people from use Celsius, but I don't know what that is in Celsius.
Evil. I mean, you're being really rude now. Like, because I don't know. Wow. I don't understand people. Sorry, I don't.
Oh, I think that this is somebody who, is troubled.
I just feel like they're just purposely trying.
Oh yes, of course, a provocation. He's a provocateur, as we say.
Hey Jonah, she is the purple creature from McDonald's.
Also, just so because I saw someone in the chat ask what your thing. What Mom, you want to say what draw, or I guess draw, how it's become to be pronounced Latina means?
Doctora Latina.
Yeah.
It's Spanish for Doctor Latina.
So yeah, it's just Spanish for
like I'm a female, so it's doctora. If it's a male, you would say doctor, dr, period, Latino.
With an O, yeah. So just so people, because someone asked what that meant.
Yeah, so that's just my mom.
So it's just in Spanish, really.
Yeah, it's Spanish, yeah. Oh, BC Barnett got it, doctora, yeah.
Oh, Hello Baby got it. Mm-hmm.
What? Did he just come under somebody else now?
Yes.
I feel like that's the same person.
Yep.
Wow. Well, how many profiles do you have? Jeez. Anyway, go ahead. What are you saying?
No, I was going to say I actually need to get going in the next few minutes.
I didn't even realize what time it was.
I have no idea either. I'm just busy.
It's 11:34. At least on our end.
Yep, yeah. It's the same on our end too. Well, not everybody in chat.
Yeah,
yeah, we could end it. Wow, I am like, this is crazy. How many different?
Well, it's just.
So these trolls are like roaches. Yeah.
I wonder. Do you ever wonder if it's like somebody you know? Like I always, wonder, at least with my channel, because it's my like. Wonder if it's somebody I know or somebody I've had like interaction with prior in one of my chats, and then I don't know. It's just weird thinking about that, but yeah.
Do you know Margaret Gibson?
No.
Uh-huh.
Well, you know what? You are entitled to whatever opinion you want.
Wonder what opinion, yeah. Oh, I never seen Margaret, no.
Oh.
Yeah, this one definitely did kind of attract a different type of crowd today. It was
right.
different than our normal.
Sometimes,
I'll tell you why, though. Well, I'll tell you why later. Mm-hmm.
Maybe exercise to make you realize sub-chat mode. Oh yeah. That's the same that's the same person. He's got the evil aim. I was just about to agree with you.
Sub-chat mode. What is that?
He wants me to put on because everybody was asking put on the sub mode where only subs could chat.
Oh.
But then I mean the trolls could still just sub though, so it doesn't necessarily. Because then they could just sub for that and then unsub if they wanted to after, right?
Someone said Nurse Ratched was late with the meds, and I don't know what that means, but I thought it was funny. I do know who Nurse Ratched is, though.
Oh, there you go, I Spy. That's a nice one. So that's a nice one to end on, guys. Like, let's just end on some couple good comments and just call it a night because this person. I swear, I'm like, this is kind of comical. How many? Wow. Huh. So we got Fan Cam. What was the other one? Bug Incorporated or something? All right. So is there any ending notes you want to leave for Darksea. Hey, Darksea. We're just seeing you now. Did you just get here? Yeah, do that for your subs who have been subs for a certain time. No, I could Darksea, but I'm about to end anyway. But my point is the person So the people we're having issues with, all they're gonna do, because they're requesting it too. So all they're gonna do is just sub, and then they're gonna do it. So it's not. It's. But I'm gonna end it anyway.
You could do for subs for more than a week.
Wonder if you could do that.
No,
yeah, if that's true. Like,
I think there is something like more than. It's not just 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe, yeah. Maybe I'll remember that next time. I'm sorry, Darcy. Now it's.
Aquí está otra vez.
And thanks for the super chat, Soul for Music. Unsub from many creators. Wait, I've never had to unsub from so many YouTube creators. What do you mean, Alicia? Like, are you covering? No, you're talking about the Summer Wells case.
I feel it may actually take years, probably.
Oh, thanks, Ashley.
Thank you, Brendan Schmeld. Thank you, Patty.
Defenders from another channel. I don't know what.
Thanking Francesca to be on.
Oh, where? Oh, thank you. Oh, someone thinks they've been raffling their gift.
Yes, Kimberly, I totally agree with you. Kimberly. Yeah. Yes, Alessia.
Yeah, no, I agree. There have been a lot. Like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I try to stick it to.
No, this is
the true crime, but
right. I think it is really important, but it's also nice to try to understand the pathology of behavior like that.
Yeah.
Well,
you're right.
Hopefully, they got a little bit of attention that they're looking for.
Yeah.
Right.
But I wonder if this is true. Maybe it does work that way. Maybe it is like a 24 hours. So that would okay. Well, I'll know for next time, Journey of Justice. Maybe I did screw up by not doing that then. But I just had it in my head like, well, all they're gonna do is just sub. But if it is like, if they go back like 24 hours, then they wouldn't. It would have been too late for them to, So yeah. You're welcome. Your daughter's well. Oh, Patty. All right. Well.
Oh, thank you. I tried.
What? STTN. I don't know what that means.
Francesca, I see.
Well, hey, at least no one. Oh, I think. Oh my gosh, I was about to say, and then I realized how dumb it would have been because my name was up here. I was gonna say, thank God, no one spelled my name with the CH, but I was like, my name is up
The name is not here anymore. I don't think so.
with the CH.
Well, it is like when I put it down.
Yeah, I was like, thank God no one misspelled it. But like, obviously,
it's incredible. Yeah.
Do you know what? Once I spelled my own name wrong on a test in like 8th grade.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, I did. I don't know what
I got a point off for it.
Yeah,
too.
I got like a 99 because today the teacher took a point off and circled my name, and then I realized what I did. I was like, oh
wow.
Saliendo.
Yeah.
Oh, I must have missed something when I went because people were talking about a specific creator. Okay, I don't know. I must have missed something, guys. That's why I was confused maybe by some of the comments. Oh, thanks, Atlas. Yeah, that's her daughter. Yeah, Caitlin.
Yeah. We're actually in the same house currently. Just one upstairs and one downstairs.
Right.
Thanks, Batman. Yesterday did it.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. I'm really limiting what where I go these days. My time is so limited.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, both of you. This was a nice discussion, and everybody basically stayed the whole time because you look at the numbers. It was like everybody was enjoying themselves. Just wow, he's back.
Did you go find out what that is? Thank you.
Kendrick Johnson on the highway to hell. Huh. Oh, thanks, Kimberly. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, any last words, like last advice, last thoughts on anything that you want to add before I end it? I love your children. Oh, thanks, Alicia. Anything? I'm putting you on the spot. Or you?
I don't know. Say hi to your pets for me. Say hi to all your animals at home for me.
Everybody, I have one. I got Zeke. I'll say hi. He's in bed right now, but yeah. You too. And yeah, maybe we'll do something in the future. I know definitely, Amy. I mean, we're gonna have to do something because we never did get to have our live.
Yep, that's true.
So we'll figure out something on a case. And yeah, all right. Well, thanks guys for coming on. Wow, 3 hours. You guys did give me a lot of your time.
Yeah, we didn't have anything else to do. No, but it was fun.
Are you all right, Amy? I feel like you're like in a zone.
I'm really tired. I've had a really long week for yeah.
No, I didn't, Amy. I didn't see the earlier message. I don't see it. Or is it an email? Amy, did you see my earlier message? Hold on, let me check before I end it real quick. And then, hold on, Amy. I don't see any. No, I don't see it, Amy. Maybe email me if you have something. Oh, there it is. Trace on the case. Not sure how to send it. Oh, no. I don't know, Amy. Well, if you have something, maybe you're just talking about an email. No, it's not an email. All right. I don't know. Yeah, no, I don't see it. You could email me, but I think I am going to end this, guys. So everybody have a good night and thank you. I'd watch Dr. Amy's channel maybe soon, Pat. Aw. I knew Dr. Amy adopted as a single mom. Okay. All right, guys. Well, bye, everybody. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.